Well, hello and good evening, everyone. Durud Patriots, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to tonight's evening edition of The Goldie Show. And tonight we have a very special edition of The Goldie Show because we are going to watch the 1989 footage of the funeral of the first supreme dictator of the Islamic regime, the founder of the Islamic regime, the evil, demonic pedophile Khomeini. Now, his funeral was in 1989. That was pretty much the height, the peak of Durka in occupied Iran. Because from 1979, when the Islamic regime took over, until 1989, 1990, that's when they were the most powerful. Because many of them viewed Khomeini, Khabar Margish, as some sort of godlike deity. Before we get to the footage, I'm going to share a little bit of background info about this Khomeini, Khabar Margish. I know he's dead. For all the Iranians, I know he's dead, but whenever I say Khomeini, I just have to say Khabar Margish. For those of you who don't know Persian, Khabar Margish means the news of his death. So usually when we don't like someone, when we say their name, we're like Khabar Margish, like hoping for the news of their death. So I don't use that term except when I'm speaking about the Muslim Nazis. And I know Khomeini is dead, but I just can't help myself. So I will say Khomeini Khabar Margish. I mean, I guess it kind of works tonight because tonight we are going to watch the news about his death. So there you go. Now, I've only seen clips of this footage. I haven't actually seen the whole documentary. So I'm going into this blind just as much as you are. Although, if you were watching Iran Revolution Live on Tuesday, I believe it was day 178. On Tuesday, I did play like a sneak peek, a sneak preview of the funeral circus. But let me first show you who Khomeini Khabar Margish actually is. So, where's this? I want to find that picture of him with his bidet. Where is he? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, I just did a Google search for Khomeini and I've literally like never done this. And like okay, I have to like if I have to suffer through this, so do you. Okay? So ew, look at this. Look at this guy. This is him. This is Khomeini Khabar Margish. This is the jihadi pedophile founder of the Islamic regime. A literal demon, like literally like a demon. Like look at him, look at him. I don't understand that. By the way, I will never understand how Jimmy Carter looked at Khomeini and was like, "Oh yeah, this guy seems like a reasonable person. We should support Khomeini." Oh, by the way, guys, I know a lot of you are mentioning Tusi in the chat. I was watching that live stream, and I mean, I'm Canadian, but I know everything that's going on, and I'm going to make some calls and see if maybe through my network, my political network or contact, there's someone that I can connect him with. So yeah, we're all going to try our best to help Tusi 100%. So I'll be reaching out to him afterwards, but I have to first go through my network and see if there's anyone that I know um, who can, who I can connect with him. So yeah, 100%, absolutely. Tusi is fantastic. Tusi is absolutely like we're gonna try to help him out as much as we can. Anyways, but so yes, that's why I started the show a little bit late because I was watching Tusi's live stream. All right, so yeah, again, I don't get it. I don't understand how Jimmy Carter, the and the Democrats could look at this demonic evil face and be like, yeah, okay, that guy seems reasonable, right? Ugh. Anyways, where's the picture of Khomeini with the aftabe? X-ish kojast. You know what? I'm gonna find it. Maybe it's on X. Maybe it's on X. But if I have to suffer through images of Khomeini while I'm, searching for that photo, so do you. And I know I have it somewhere. Where the heck is it? Oh wait, what the heck is this? Oh wow. Okay, guys. Let me just save this link because I'm going to share this as well. But going back to where is it? Where is it? Come on. I know it has to be somewhere. Why is it like it's literally Murphy's Law when I'm looking for like that photo and like Iranians, you know which photo it is that I'm talking about. Why is it that when I'm looking for this photo, I can never find it? Right? Ugh. Okay. Where is it? All right. Well, anyways, I have a whole bunch of other Khomeini Chabad Magish posts that I'm going to share with you before we get into the documentary. But now I need to find this photo now. I thought I had it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's this photo here. Like this is what Khomeini Chabad Magish is known for. Okay, he's literally known for like just squatting and going to the bathroom, literally doing number two. So this is Khomeini Chabad Margesh, right? And all he did was just like squat in the desert in front of like a bidet, right? So here he is, like Khomeini in his like bidet, and there's like a jihadi mullah, and he's literally like squatting in the desert as about to do like a number two. Okay, so this is Khomeini. This is Khomeini Khabar Margesh. Khomeini Khabar Margesh. Okay, this is him. This is him. Look, he always has his bidet. Okay, so this is the like Muslim jihadi pedophile founder of the Islamic regime. Okay, this is like who all the Durkas worship. Okay, anyway, so um, I've actually posted quite a bit about Khomeini on my X account. So let me go through a few of his posts, a few of my posts about him. Okay, so this is what the terrorist Khomeini said when Islam occupied Iran in 1979. The Islamic Republic is the enemy of Iran and the Iranian people. The Islamic Republic has been trying to erase our Iranian identity and culture for 47 years. This is why Iranians hate the Islamic Republic. Wait, let me fix the screen here. There we go. This is why Iranians hate the Islamic Republic. So let's listen to what Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, said about Iran and the Iranian identity when the Durkas took over in 1979.
اسلام آمده است که این حرفای نامربوط رو از بین ببرد. افراد ملی به درد ما نمیخورند، افراد مسلم به درد ما میخورند. اسلام با ملیت مخالف است. معنی ملیت این است که ما ملت را میخوایم، ملیت را میخوایم و اسلام را نمیخوایم. اون مردی که در خارج گفت که اول من ایرانی هستم، ملی هستم، دوم ایرانی هستم، سیوم اسلام، این اسلام نی. تو سیوم هم اسلام نیستی.
Right? So according to the Islamic regime, according to these foreign 7th century barbaric invaders, anyone who says that they're Iranian first and puts their Iranian identity before religion, they're not a real Muslim. That's not Islam. Because Islam and the Iranian identity don't mix. This is why for us Iranians, this is why we are incredibly sensitive when people say, you know, they call it the Iranian government or the Iranian regime or the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, right? Like, there's literally nothing Iranian about them. The Islamic regime is a foreign occupying invader. When they took over Iran in 1979 through an illegal military coup d'etat with the help of, you know, Jimmy Carter and the Democrats, and of course France and the UK, right? This is what they're saying. They're literally saying anyone who says they're Iranian is not a real Muslim, and anyone who says that they're Iranian means that they're an enemy of Islam. Okay, so according to the Islamic regime, the Iranian identity is completely contradictory to Islam. And he said in 1979 that Islam has come to Iran to get rid of the Iranian identity and to erase the Iranian identity. Right? Watch it. Watch this again.
اسلام آمده است که این حرفای نامربوط رو از بین ببرد. افراد ملی به درد ما نمیخورند، افراد مسلم به درد ما میخورند. اسلام با ملیت مخالف است. معنی ملیت این است که ما ملت را میخوایم، ملیت را میخوایم و اسلام را نمیخوایم. اون مردی که در خارج گفت که اول من ایرانی هستم، ملی هستم، دوم ایرانی هستم، سیوم اسلام، این اسلام نی.
So, I also want to say something, because what this Muslim pedophile terrorist here is saying, it's not just relevant to Iran. It's relevant to your countries. Why do you think that all these Muslims that are immigrating to Western democratic countries are demanding Sharia law? Why do you think in Texas, in the United States, they want to build some sort of like Islamic super city? Yeah. They might not say it to your face, but if someone is immigrating to a non-Muslim country and then they claim that they want Sharia law or they want Muslim-only places or blah, 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 there's a reason for that. And the reason is because Islam is incompatible with nationalism. Not just Iranian nationalism, the nationalism of any country. This is what jihad looks like. And they're not mincing words, are they? They're not hiding the fact that for them, Islam and Sharia law supersedes the law of the land. They're not hiding the fact that their religion is more important to them than the country that they live in. In fact, one of the reasons that many of them are mass immigrating is because they want to engage in civilizational jihad. And that's exactly what's happening. And yet, if anyone calls it out, we're Islamophobic. Okay. Yeah. Remember, guys, Islamophobia is a made-up word. Islamophobia was actually initially created to silence and suppress Iranians who speak out against the Islamic regime, because they don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know that they believe Islam is incompatible with nationalism, and that nationalism is the enemy of Islam. Because what they want to create is a global Islamic caliphate, this global Muslim brotherhood, right? They want Sharia law, and they literally believe that Sharia law supersedes the laws of whatever country they're in, if it's not a Muslim country. Yeah. Keep that in mind. Because what happened in Iran? What happened in Iran in 1979? It could very well happen in your countries if you don't wake up and fight back. Why do you think that the same people who support all these Islamic terrorists call anyone who waves the flag of their country and says, no, my country, my culture first, you're demonized for that? Anyone who is a patriot, anyone who is nationalistic, anyone who wants to protect the fundamental values and culture of their society, you're apparently intolerant. You're xenophobic. You're Islamophobic. Yeah. Meanwhile, this is what they say behind closed doors. Watch this again, and then I'll go to the next video from Khomeini, خبر مرگش.
اسلام آمده است که این حرفای نامربوط را از بین ببرد. افراد ملی به درد ما نمیخورند، افراد مسلم به درد ما میخورند. اسلام با ملیت مخالف است. معنی ملیت این است که ما ملت را میخوایم، ملیت را میخوایم و اسلام را نمیخوایم. اون مردی که در خارج گفت که اول من ایرانی هستم، ملی هستم، دوم ایرانی هستم، سیوم اسلام، این اسلام نی. تو سیوم هم اسلام نیستی.
Yeah. So anyone who puts their country first before Islam, according to Khomeini, the founder of the Islamic regime, is not a real Muslim. Yeah. Keep that in mind as we continue. Anyways, so, oh wait, let me go to the search. So this was the first one. And then, look at this. France, okay? This is why we Iranians... Now, again, nothing to do with the French people. And I want to make it very clear. This is a geopolitical channel. So when I'm referring to a country, I'm referring to the government and the policies. I'm never referring to the people. I love the French people. The French people are amazing. I actually feel bad for the French people because you guys have a lot of like things that you're dealing with right now with the mass influx of like mass migrants, right? But here's Khomeini and a bunch of mullahs in France. Yeah, because before Khomeini, Khabar Margish, was brought back to Iran, he was being refuged by France. French taxpayer dollars paid for this, okay? Not only that, French taxpayer dollars paid for the Air France flight, the Air France plane that took Khomeini, Khabar Margish, back to Iran. This is the day that Iran went to hell. This is the day that overnight Iran went from modernizing, democratic, secular, westernized country, overnight it went back to a third world 7th century Islamic hellhole governed by Sharia law. Yeah. Thank you, French government. Thank you, French government, for that. So, on top of that, oh, look at this. And then here's the other thing as well. So a lot of people are wondering, well, what was happening? Like, why did people trust Khomeini? That's because mainstream media was literally writing articles about this evil Muslim jihadi pedophile, and they were portraying him as some sort of like Gandhi-like figure, okay? And if you're wondering why the mainstream media is silent on the current Iranian revolution, that's because they actually supported the savages who took Iran hostage in 1979. Here is a 1979 New York Times article defending Khomeini, one of the most evil Muslim men ever. So, this article from the New York Times, okay, let me open this in the new tab so I can like zoom in. So, this is from the New York Times, Friday, February 16, 1979. And then this is, first of all, I don't know how anyone can look at this picture and be like, oh yeah, we should trust this guy. This guy looks reputable, right? Like this guy looks like, you know, a normal person. The guy literally looks like Satan. I mean, I don't understand. I don't know how anyone could look more evil than this right here. The guy literally looks like Satan. And yet the mainstream media is portraying him as some sort of like figure of peace or something, right? It's literally Satan. Anyways, so the article is entitled Trusting Khomeini by Richard Falk. Again, all these non-Iranian experts in the mainstream media who think they know what they're talking about, right? So, Princeton, New Jersey. Part of the confusion in America about Iran's social revolution, involves Ayatollah Khomeini. More even than any third world leader, he has been depicted in a manner calculated to frighten. Really? No, he hasn't been depicted in a manner calculated to frighten. We Iranians were trying to warn you that this demon is literally Satan on earth, and he is going to rain hell upon the Iranian people and on the rest of the world because he just wants a jihad. But no one believed us, right? No one believed us because all these non-Iranian experts in the mainstream media think that they know better than us Iranians about what's good for us Iranians, right? So, this guy, Richard Falk, is basically trying to Iran-splain Iran to all of us. And this is why back in the 1970s, people thought Khomeini was so great because, you know, these criminals like Richard Falk and others in the mainstream media were posting articles about how Khomeini is so great, Khomeini Khabar Magish. Anyways, I don't want to read the whole article, but it just goes on to basically talk about how, he's so great, he's gonna bring peace, he's like the Gandhi, you know, like just like the same like garbage nonsense, right? But anyone wants the link, it's on my X profile. You can go find it and you can read the whole thing there. And then, oh yeah, so this is what I mean when I say that like the Islamic regime is not supported by Iranians. Here you go. So a Lebanese Arab, so basically a Hezbollah supporter, okay? So a Hezbollah supporter is sharing a picture of a Nigerian guy who's holding images of Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, and Khamenei, right? So when I say that the Islamic regime is a foreign occupying invasion, this is what I'm talking about, okay? It's literally Hezbollah supporter, so like some you know, Arab Hezbollah supporter is sharing a picture of a Nigerian Shia Muslim. By the way, don't forget the Nigerian Shia Muslims, Nigerian genocide of Christians, right? It's all linked. Anyway, so this non-Iranian Hezbollah Arab is sharing a photo of a Nigerian Shia Muslim who's holding pictures of Khomeini, Khabar Margash, and Khamenei, Khabar Margash, right? These are the well, that's the founder, and then this is the one that just was exterminated, right? So when I say it's a foreign occupying invasion, that's what I'm talking about. Anyways, I've already shared that video. And of course, how can we, there you go, trusting Khomeini, right? There you go. And then, where's the other one? Oh, again, oh yeah, this guy's like, so this guy's like some Palestinian jihadi terrorist in Canada. Like, he's not even Iranian. He's like a full-on like Palestinian, or I don't know, maybe he's Lebanese Hezbollah. I don't know what third world hellhole he's from, but he's definitely not Iranian. But he has like, he's like he's like super cope, right? I guess he's upset that he's not Iranian or something. So this like non-Iranian Arab terrorist in Canada always goes around and he literally wears like a scarf of like Khamenei, right? Like, this is literally him. And then, he's like, this is all in Canada, by the way, right? Like, this non-Iranian Arab terrorist is literally openly supporting the Islamic regime in Canada, and no one ever stops him, right? Like, he's literally openly, he literally says Hamas is not a terrorist organization, even though Hamas is a listed terror entity in Canada. By the way, this guy is like literally insane. He's actually a very dangerous criminal. He tried to target me when I was an elected official. He actually came. He drove all the way to Ottawa and came to my constituency office and threatened my staff. Yeah, like, that's how crazy this guy is. Like, he's put out death threats on people. He's run over Iranians. He's tried to run over Jewish people. Yeah, he's not even like, and like, this is how crazy it is for us Iranians. Not only do we have to deal with the Islamic regime, we have to deal with their like inbred Arab Palestinian terrorists, right? So yeah, like, it's just wild. This is the insanity that we have to deal with constantly. And then yeah, here's like a little primer on Jimmy Carter. So, on January 27, 1979, Khomeini, Khabar Margash, founder of Iran's Islamic Republic, the man who called the United States the Great Satan, sent a secret message to Washington. From his home in exile outside Paris, the defiant leader of it's not the Iranian Revolution, it's the Islamic Revolution, effectively offered the Carter administration a deal. Iranian military leaders listen to you, he said, but the Iranian people follow my orders. So, a lot of people are wondering, well, how did the Islamic regime take over? Why did the Iranian military stand down and allow the Islamic regime to take over? You can thank Jimmy Carter for that. Because the article continues. If President Jimmy Carter could use his influence on the military to clear the way for his takeover, Khomeini suggested, he would calm the nation. Stability could be restored. America's interests and citizens in Iran would be protected. So, Khomeini, Khabar Margash, told Jimmy Carter that if Jimmy Carter could use his influence to make the Iranian military stand down and not prevent the Islamic takeover of Iran, Khomeini in return would make sure that America's interests would be protected. Guys, do you see a recurring theme? Do you see a recurring theme? When I tell you, when their lips are moving, they are lying. And Jimmy Carter, pardon my language, the idiotic peanut farmer, actually trusted this Muslim jihadi pedophile. And Jimmy Carter was like, oh, yeah, okay, that's reasonable, okay, yeah, okay. I'll use my American influence as president to make the Iranian military stand down. We'll turn Iran into a 7th century Islamic hellhole, but that's okay. They're going to be friends with America. That's literally what went through Jimmy Carter's mind. And then it continues. In a first-person message, Khomeini told the White House not to panic at the prospect of losing a strategic ally of 37 years and assured them that he too would be a friend. Oh my gosh. Wow. I honestly, like, this blows my mind. Like, how stupid was Jimmy Carter and the Democrats? This guy that literally looks like Satan, okay, like Satan on earth, calls up Jimmy Carter and he's like, oh, don't worry, like, Iran has been a very strong ally. Iran has been one of your top allies for the last 37 years, but don't worry, you help us, take over the country, force the military to stand down, and we pinky promise, so we'll be best friends. We'll be best friends with you. Yeah, and then what happened as soon as the Islamic regime took over? The American hostage situation, and they started yelling, "Death to America." You can thank Jimmy Carter for that, by the way. So, to all the Americans out there who are like, what's happening in Iran is not our problem. Yes, it is. It actually is your problem. It is your problem. Because Jimmy Carter and the Democrats are the reason why Khomeini, Khabaramagish, was able to take over. And I want to be very clear. I make a distinction between the American people, the Republicans, and the Democrats. I have a lot of respect for the Democrats. I have a lot of respect for the Republicans. I have a lot of respect for Richard Nixon. And I've shared videos and interviews from Richard Nixon where he said that if he was still president at the time, he would have never trusted Khomeini. And I have a lot of respect for the American people because ultimately this is not the fault of the American people. But what happened in Iran in 1979 is the fault of Jimmy Carter and the Democrats. Because Jimmy Carter was stupid enough to believe the lies, the taqiyya, right? The taqiyya. And this goes back to what we watched last night about J.D. Vance and J.D. Vance experiencing taqiyya. And then he's like, oh, I think this is like some sort of Persian negotiation tactic. No, J.D. Vance, it's not a Persian negotiation tactic. It's an Islamic negotiation tactic that's called taqiyya. And they used it on Jimmy Carter back in 1979, and he was stupid enough to fall for it. And now, unfortunately, it seems like you are falling for the same thing. Remember, if their lips are moving, they are lying. Okay? Keep that in mind. Anyways, so there you go. That's a little clip on Jimmy Carter. Oh yeah, I really like this picture. This is this is probably the only picture of Khomeini Khabaramagish that I like. Literally, he's like a Muslim Nazi, and there's like his bidet, right? So this is the only proper and accurate like depiction of Khomeini Khabaramagish, right? He's literally like a Muslim Nazi garbage. Oh yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Obama, yeah. So that's what I mean. Jimmy Carter and the Democrats, yeah. Oh, remember, Obama sent pallets of cash to the Islamic regime. Obama sent pallets of cash to the Islamic. This is what I'm saying. I have an issue with the Democrats because the Democrats, for some reason, love Islamic terrorism. And to me, the Democrats are anti-American. Because anyone who supports the Islamic regime, if you're an American, you're a traitor. You're literally a traitor to your country. And to me, the Democrats are traitors. So, oh yeah, this is a pretty good image of Khomeini. Oh yeah, okay, so guys, let me share some of Khomeini, Khabaramagish, the founder of the Islamic regime. Let me share some of his more memorable quotes. And then after this, we are going to get into the documentary Watch Party. So here's one of Khomeini's memorable quotes. Remember, this is who this is the person Jimmy Carter trusted, okay? So this is one of his quotes in his, Muslim scripture book. So he says, a man can marry a girl younger than 9 years of age, even if the girl is still a baby being breastfed. A man, however, is prohibited from having intercourse with a girl younger than 9. Other sexual acts such as foreplay, rubbing, kissing, and sodomy are allowed. I'm going to let that sink in. This is the founder of the Islamic regime. The founder of the Islamic regime literally wrote a book explaining how sodomizing infants is okay. Sodomizing infants is halal. Yeah. Yep. I'm not making this up. This is from his little green book. Yeah. I have another memorable quote that I want to share with you. He also wrote this and said this, okay? So, this is Khomeini, the founder of the Islamic regime. He wrote, if in the middle of an earthquake, a man is in the top floor and his aunt is in the floor below, and suddenly roof break down and man drop on his aunt and his genitals, enter his aunt's genitals, and his sperm gets into his aunt and aunt gets pregnant, that baby is not a bastard. I just want that to sink in for a moment. What sort of sick, demented, pedophile demon do you have to be to even come up with a scenario like this? Yeah. When I tell you that the Islamic regime is literally a 7th century inbred jihadi death cult, I'm not exaggerating. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm going to go to the super chat. You know what? Let me go to the super chats really, really quickly because I see there's a few questions here. Okay. So Amir gifted membership. Thank you so much, Amir. And then the Black Nothing. Khomeini comes from a cult that is the single most deadly ideology in human history. In 1979, the world, we should trust this guy. Yeah, you know what? That's exactly the level of sarcasm that I have right now. 100% I agree with you, right? Wiley Coyote says, oh, sorry, this was from The Black Nothing. And then Wiley Coyote says, sending some love to Goldie, also hoping you can help Mahir Tusi in some way. Yeah, so I watched Mahir Tusi's live. I'm gonna reach out through my networks and connections. I mean, again, I'm Canadian, but maybe I know someone who knows someone, right? So yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna see what I can do to help Tusi. We all absolutely love Tusi and we support him 100%. Valiant Goat gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Push-ups. Been looking forward to Goldie deep dive on Khomeini. Wow, thank you. And push-ups again. What does Khomeini Hamade Magish mean? So okay, let me write this out. It's okay. So this is what I'm actually saying. Khomeini Khabar Margish. So Khabar means news and Margish means death. So usually people say Khabar Margish after the name of someone who's alive, and they're like, they say it because like they hate that person so much. They're like, we want the news of his death. Even though Khomeini's already dead, I despise, and I don't use like we generally, like, we don't use Khabar Margish, right? Because it's very rude, right? Because basically when you say Khabar Margish, it means like you're wishing for the news of someone's death. But Khamenei, Hamashun, like all of them, like I just, we all despise him so much. Like if I say Khomeini, I have to say Khabar Margish, even though he's dead. I still say it. I don't care. I still say it. Khomeini Khabar Margish, Khamenei Khabar Margish, all of them Khabar Margishun, right? So yeah, that's what it means. It basically means the news of his death. And you know what? It is kind of fitting in this live stream right now, because we are actually going to be watching a documentary about the news of his death. So there you go. And yeah, it is like incredibly disrespectful. Like it's not a swear word, right? So it's not like a curse word, but it's like a very, very polite way of being extremely disrespectful, right? So Khabar Margish basically means I hope he dies, essentially. But he's already dead. But I like, it comes off, the tongue very well. Khomeini Khabar Margish. I don't know. It sounds good. It's also like a good stress relief for me, since, I try to avoid oh, by the way, guys, I wanted to say, I don't usually go into like a full Durka documentary thing, because it is incredibly triggering for all of us, right? But I brought myself some bacon wrapped scallops. So as we watch the documentary, and if things get too Durka, I have my shield, I have my protection, I have my bacon wrapped scallops. So if I'm feeling like the Durka is becoming too much, I'm just gonna have like a bacon wrapped scallop to help deal with the Durka and the jihad, right? So there you go. Yeah, bacon wrapped scallops. There you go, guys. I'm telling you, I came prepared. I have my, make Iran great again hat. By the way, I have my Savak coffee mug, right? My Savak coffee mug, and I have my bacon wrapped scallops. So this is going to help me, fight the Durka when it gets too much, right? So there you go. Anyways, yeah, so this is Khomeini Khabar Margish. Okay. I think I've done enough of sort of a deep dive. Like this is pretty much all you need to know about the guy. He's literally a Muslim Nazi pedophile, right? He's literally a Muslim Nazi pedophile sex freak. Right? Totally uneducated, total savage. And Jimmy Carter for some reason looked at this demon face and was like, "Oh yeah, this guy seems like a reasonable guy. We should totally trust him. Yeah, the black nothing with another super chat says, "Imagine hating pork but liking playgrounds." Yeah, I know, right? Like values, right? Like priorities. Like these are the priorities. So their priority is, pork is haram. Pork, oh, no pork. If you eat pork, you're going to go to hell. However, you're allowed to engage in pedophilia. Do you now understand why I call them pedophiles? I'm not exaggerating. I'm literally not exaggerating when I refer to them as pedophiles, because they are literally pedophiles. Okay? Keep that in mind. They're literally pedophiles. Okay, enough of this Durka. Whew, that rant went on a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I think it was important to get some of that out there. Before we get to the documentary, I'm going to share this tomorrow. I'm going to share this footage tomorrow on Iran Revolution Live, but this just showed up on my X tab when I was searching up images of Khomeini Khabar Margish. So look at this. A coffin said to contain the remains of Iran's former supreme leader Ali Khamenei Khabar Margish was displayed at Imam Khomeini Hosseiniya on Thursday night. ahead of an official funeral procession set to begin in Tehran on July 4th and end with his burial in Mashhad on July 9th. Okay, so guys, this is apparently from tonight. These are like the Durkas in action right now. Literally, Durkas in action right now. So apparently Khamenei. So okay, so remember Khomeini, and I know it's hard to remember because all their names are demonic and it has the letter Kh, which doesn't exist in English, but that's okay. But I know for our Israeli viewers, anyone who speaks Hebrew, you guys have the Kh, right? So it's Khomeini is the founder, and then Khamenei is the more recent one. Anyway, so apparently Khamenei, the second one, his coffin is now being displayed in the the mausoleum or the shrine of Khomeini, the first one, right? So this is footage from tonight. So let's just watch this because I'm just curious to see. I will share it tomorrow in Iran Revolution Live and explain more about it. But yeah, let's just see how crazy these Durkas are, and then we can compare this to the documentary from 1989. Yeah, I wonder how bad. Ugh. Ew, guys, if his remains are in here, that means that he's been outside, like unburied for 6 months. Ew, imagine the smell.
Ya Hussein.
Oh, Hussein. Remember, Hussein is one of their like dead Arab warlords, right? What are the Arab warlords they like worship? Yep.
اصلا نمیشه باورم که دیگه نیستی بینمون.
Oh my god, he's singing like some morning song in Persian. Okay, let me okay. I'm gonna play the whole thing and then I'll go back and I'll translate it for you. Oh my gosh, guys, this is therapy for me, like, and I'm sure for all the Iranians watching, like, دوستان براتون کمی تراپی آوردم. تراپی.
اصلا نمیشه باورم که دیگه نیستی بینمون.
No, this isn't full Haydar yet. So basically he's saying, I still can't believe that you are not among us.
قصه یکی دوتا که نیست.
He's like, قصه که یکی دوتا که نیست. He's like, our sorrows are not one or two.
رو گرفتن ازمون.
He's like, تو رو گرفتن ازمون. He's like, they took you from us. He's like, our sorrows are not one or two. They took you from us.
تو رو گرفتن.
Like, they took you from us.
تو رو گرفتن ازمون.
It's like, تو رو گرفتن ازمون. See? Look, I love this. I love this. See, all of our Iranian viewers are laughing, guys. براتون تراپی آوردم. I love this. Oh, it's so good. And he's like, تو رو گرفتن ازمون. And he's like, they took you from us. And he repeats that like 3 times, and everyone's like, oh, no, no. Right?
سخت تحمل غمت.
He's like, سخت تحمل غمت means like, it's so hard to bear this sorrow. It's so hard to bear this sorrow.
وقت خدا حافظیه.
He's like, وقت خدا حافظیه. It's time for goodbye. It's time for goodbye.
ما نمیدونیم به خدا.
He's like, by God, we don't know.
رسم ودا با تو چیه؟
Wait, what is that? رسم ودا با تو چیه? Wait, what is that part? That got a little too much for me. What did he say there?
رسم ودا با تو چیه؟
رسم ودا با تو چیه? How do you translate that? Oh, what? Something about like a custom or something. Maybe something about pain. I don't know. I can't quite catch that part. Oh, sorrow. So it's like it's just basically like
رسم ودا با تو چیه؟
oh man, this is so beautiful. Oh. Okay, I'm guys, so for Iran Revolution Live tomorrow, I'm gonna have the translated version of this video with the subtitles. But oh man, look at this. Do you see how the Durkas are just like, "Ooh," and they're all like, "Ooh," right? So so now that I've translated it, I just wanna like play this so that all of our Iranian viewers can just really watch and take it in and enjoy, right? Oh, so beautiful.
یا حسین
Oh, Hussein.
اصلا نمیشه باورم که دیگه نیستی بینمون قصه یکی دوتا که نیست تو رو گرفتن ازمون تو رو گرفتن تو رو گرفتن ازمون.
Oh, okay. So Shabnam Jun, thank you so much. So Shabnam is watching from X. Where did Shabnam's post go? I just saw it. Yeah, so Shabnam Jum is saying that the last part means something like we don't know how to say. Yeah, that could be it. Something like we don't know how to say goodbye. That could be it. I'm having my translator look at this, but yeah, here they're all crying and the guy's singing like they took you away from us, and everyone's like "Ah," like hitting their heads, right?
سخت تحمل غمت
What are those
وقت
like?
خدا حافظیه
Yeah, no, guys, they're not throwing t-shirts into the crowd. They're throwing like flowers, and everyone's grabbing the flowers, and they're like, "Oh!" Right?
ما نمیدونیم به خدا رسم ودا با تو چیه رسم ودا با تو چیه
Oh man, can I just say thank you, President Trump. Thank you, America, for giving us this beautiful, beautiful scene to witness. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless America. Thank you, Israel, as well. Thank you, Prime Minister Netanyahu. I'm Israel Chai. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, this we would not be able to experience these very joyful scenes without your help and support. We need more. We need more. Guys, oh my gosh, this is so good. So good. Let me put it in context for you guys. This is like the equivalent of, let's say people who were oppressed by Nazi Germany during World War II. They're now, watching the funeral of Hitler, right? And they're taking pleasure in it. This is like the equivalent of watching Hitler's funeral, right? So there you go. So this is just a sneak peek of what to expect for Khamenei's Khabar Margish funeral procession, which starts on July 4th, coinciding with American Independence Day, by the way, right? Very weird of the Islamic regime to do that, but there you go. And they're doing that on purpose. But having said that, let's go to the main event, because I actually have not watched this documentary, okay? So this documentary, by the way, this is in Persian, okay? It's in Persian. I've turned on the subtitles. Let me just make sure. Yeah. So I turned on the subtitles so that you guys can follow along in English. But this is the most accurate and high quality documentary. Wait, there's someone on Twitch who's swearing. Guys, you guys know my rule about swearing. Like, why are you swearing? Guys, please don't swear. Yeah, okay, yeah, just please make sure. Yeah, thank you so much. I just appreciate that. Yeah, guys, so everyone who's watching on all the live streams, just please don't swear. Please don't swear. Because we have a lot of children who tune in, and I just want to keep it, family friendly too, as much as I can, right? But like, disagreements are okay, but that this just helps keep the live stream chat, visible, so that everyone can see what everyone else is commenting. But yeah, that's my only request, is just no swearing, please. If you want to, like, censor it or whatever, that's fine. I can't stop you from that. But just because all your comments show up on the screen, that's like literally my only rule. But other than that, like, go for it. And yeah, because this is a pro-America, pro-Israel, pro-Iran, anti-Islamic regime, anti-Durka, anti-jihad, pro-patriot channel. So there we go. All are welcome, unless you're a terrorist. If you're like an Islamic terrorist, then you can go to hell where you belong. There you go. Okay, so now let's watch this documentary. So it is in the Persian language, and I will see how much the subtitles are accurate. Oh gosh. Okay, so this caption here didn't get it. So the Bismillah, in the name of Allah, part was right, but then he's like, this news has just come from, like, the office of the Imam. So okay, so basically, I know exactly what this is. This guy is about to announce the death of Khomeini. Khabar margesh. Okay. So he's like, this news has come from the office of the, Ayatollah, the pedophile Ayatollah. Oh, so he's saying, like, something happened. He's probably announcing the death. Yeah, so he's like, he basically just announced the death of Khomeini. Yeah, I feel like I need to do a shot or something. You know what? I will have a bacon wrapped scallop to celebrate the news of the announcement of Khomeini's death. Oh, wait, okay. So he's not dead yet. So what he said is, like, Khomeini is, like, in the hospital, and, like, there's been some complications, and we're asking the ummah, we're asking the all the Muslims to. Is the sound really low? That's as high as it goes. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe it's because my microphone is. You know what? Maybe what I'll do is I'll lower the volume on my microphone, and then you guys just increase the volume on your TV screens or wherever you're watching from. So, okay. I lowered the volume on my mic. Is that better? So you might have to just like increase the volume. Like the volume on the video is at maximum. I can't make the volume on the video any higher. Anyways. So he hasn't died yet, but so I have bacon in my mouth. But he's basically saying to all the Muslims, like, pray for him, there's been some sort of complication or something, I don't know. He's like, we hope that your prayers will help him survive, or I don't know, something. Everyone's like, right? Oh, and this says Khomeini, Khabar Margesh. So this documentary is literally called Khomeini, Khabar Margesh. Look how like honestly, there is not a single photo of this demonic pedophile hellspawn where he looks normal, right? Like every single image of him is like an evil image. So, okay, what is going on here with this person? What are you doing? Like, don't. Anyways, let's continue.
روح‌الله خمینی، شخصیتی با قدرت خیره کننده در جذب توده های مردم.
So guys, I also want to point out, okay, so full disclaimer, the footage that you are about to see is literally the height of Durkhaism. Okay, this is the height of Durkha in occupied Iran. Okay, all of these people were involved in the Islamic coup d'etat of Iran in 1979. This is only 10 years later. Okay.
رهبری ایدئولوژیک که خود را پیشوای مسلمانان جهان می‌دانست و آرزو داشت تا با تغییر رژیم‌های سکولار و غیر مذهبی در کشورهای مسلمان اسلام سیاسی را بر منطقه حاکم کند.
So he basically said Khomeini is like, he considered himself the leader of the Muslim world, and his goal, if you were reading along with the subtitles, his goal was essentially to export political Islam and jihad around the world and turn all Muslim and non-Muslim countries into political Islam, right? So basically jihad.
خمینی از چنان جذابیتی در میان دوستدارانش برخوردار شده بود که هرچه میگفت میپذیرفتند و هرچه را فرمان میداد اجرا میکردند. اولین روحانی شیعه‌ای که توانسته بود با همراه کردن گروه‌های سیاسی مختلف یک انقلاب مذهبی را در خاورمیانه رهبری کند و با خشم، نفرت و سرسختی مقابل رقبایش از خود چهره‌ای کاریزماتیک بسازد. او که در دوران تبعید اصول حکومت مورد نظرش را در کتابی به عنوان ولایت فقیه نوشته بود، حالا آمده است تا آن را اجرا کند.
So velayat faqih, right? So that's basically the guardianship of the juris council or whatever. So basically Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, the guy who was like the Muslim pedophile, he also wrote a book about how like Islam and Sharia law should control the world. And by the way, We're about to hear one of his most famous speeches. This is the exact same speech that Zohran Mamdani gave when he took over New York. He basically, in 1979, this Muslim pedophile, foreign invader, promised free water, free electricity, free gas, free public transportation, free homes, right? That's one of the ways he fooled the Iranian people.
طول حکومت مورد نظرش را در کتابی به عنوان ولایت فقیه نوشته بود. حالا آمده است تا آن را اجرا کند.
دلخوش نباشید که مسکن فقط میسازیم.
بسیاری از مردم بر این باور بودند که آیت الله خمینی شخصیتی است که نه برای خودش بلکه به منفعت محرومان جامعه مبارزه می‌کند.
Yeah, and one of the reasons that a lot of Iranian people trusted him is because everyone thought that, you know, Muslim clerics are, you know, men of God and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, no one bothered to actually go read his like little pedophile book and stuff, right? So, anyways, it was just, it was just wild. There's actually a really good song by Mateen. Oh, I should play that. Aftabe. It's such a good song. It's such a good song. But it is copyrighted. So you know what? I will play that song at the end. For Iranians, you know which song I'm talking about. The Aftabe song, right? Such a good song.
و این موضوع در روزهای آغازین پس از انقلاب مردم را با نظرات او همراه می‌کرد.
And guys, a lot of these like younger like mullahs here, these are all those who are now part of like the upper echelons, right? So they're either within like the, you know, assembly of experts, or they're like a parliamentarian, or like blah 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 blah, like whatever the case might be, right?
معنویات شما را، روحیات شما را عظمت میدیم.
پس از استقرار نظام مورد نظر خمینی در ایران، کم کم نظرات جنجالی آیت الله برای گروه‌های غیر مذهبی در
So he's like, after the Ayatollah came to power, his controversial views, the ones that he had been hiding from the public, gradually became apparent to non-religious groups, right? So guys, this is a very important thing to remember. When the Islamic regime took over in 1979, they didn't take over because Iranians wanted Islam. In fact, at the time, the Islamic regime promised that they would never force Islam on anyone. And Iranians believed them. Instead, the Islamic regime promised free electricity, free housing, free public transportation, blah, 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 right? And the Islamic regime specifically said, we will not force anyone to live under Sharia law. And Iranians trusted them. A lot of people think that in 1979, Iranians wanted Islam. No. The only reason that Iranians trusted the demonic pedophile Ayatollahs is because they specifically said, we're not going to force Islam on anyone. But remember, if their lips are moving, they're lying. They engage in taqiyya. And as you can see, by the time the Islamic regime took over, by the time the Shah left, by the time the Islamic regime had gained control of the military and the guns, by the time Iranians realized what had actually happened, it was too late. And then, once the Islamic regime came to power, their controversial views gradually became apparent to non-religious groups.
انقلاب که رهبری او را پذیرفته بودند نمایان شد.
Sorry, let me go to a few of the super chats here. So Viper says, don't forget he's from the branch of Islam that believes it's normal to marry your first cousin. I'm not surprised he would be okay with that happening with the aunt. Yeah. Vipers is referring to the earthquake quote. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, marrying your first cousin is okay, but apparently eating bacon sends you to hell. There you go. But I'm really enjoying my bacon wrapped scallops, so they're very delicious. Anyway, Steak and Beans says, imagine if suddenly a goat walks in this hall of Durkas. Oh boy, they would kill each other. Yeah, look, who knows, right? Steak and Beans, this coffin probably contained the ring and the pointy finger with 2 teeth. Yeah, so Steak and Beans is referring to Khamenei's coffin from the video earlier that I showed you. Yeah. Are they throwing t-shirts? George Hansen asked. No, they were throwing tulips. Tread says, just getting noticed, very frustrating. Yeah, sorry, I've had some issues with my YouTube channel. I apologize for that. Have to wait 20 minutes to post as a member. No, not a member, a subscriber. So so my live stream chat, because I have a lot of trolls, like there's a lot of Durkas who get triggered by my live streams. So I just basically have a rule where you have to be subscribed to my channel for 20 minutes in order to post. So you don't have to be a member. Anyone can post, but you just have to subscribe and you have to wait 20 minutes. This also helps our amazing mods, because before I had this rule, there was literally like a Durka every like 10 seconds spamming the chat, right? But now with the 20-minute rule, they literally have to, like, it's so funny. So once in a while we get a troll, and it's really funny because they have to subscribe and then they have to wait for 20 minutes before they can post one comment, and then literally as soon as they post, the mods get them. So that's what it is. But no, you don't have to be a paid member, just a subscriber. So yeah, but that's why I have the 20-minute subscriber rule. I was subbed and became a member 1 month. Thank you so much for your support. I'm not sure what's happening there, but if you're a subscriber, you should be able to post in the live stream chat. So I have been having some issues with my YouTube channel, so I do apologize for that. And yeah, for some reason, like some people don't get a notification when I go live, but just make sure that you're subscribed and notifications are turned on. But yeah, the 20-minute rule is literally one of the ways that we can counter all the Durkas. Is there a 20-minute cap on Twitch? Okay, I'll look into that. I will definitely look into that as well, Matt Blah, and see if I can find that on Twitch. All right. Okay, so let's go back to the live stream now. So, okay, Viper. So one more super chat from Vipers, and then we'll continue with the documentary. Vipers, thank you so much. Vipers says, Islamic regime basically replayed what the Arab Muslims did after invading Iran in the 600s. You don't need to convert, and we won't force you. Followed by the way, we're going to charge you 4 times the taxes if you're not Muslim. Yeah, no, 100%, absolutely. Not only, charge you 4 times as much, we're also going to murder you. We're also just going to kill you because you're the kafir, you're the infidels, right? Iranian historians who talk about the Arab Muslim conquest of Persia in the 600s, around 650 AD, they talk about the rivers of Iran running red with the blood of the Iranian people. That's how Islam came to Iran. They made the rivers run red with the blood of Iranian people. And if you think that's an exaggeration, that's not, because I've shared footage from the January 8 and 9 massacre where the creeks and the roads in Iran were red with the blood of thousands of innocent Iranians. There's an image that shows brains, literally the brains of an Iranian person on the sidewalk, smushed, surrounded by blood. Yeah. Rivers of blood. That's how Islam conquered Iran. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Tread. I'm so sorry about that. I'm not sure what's happening there. And then Eli Goldman says, Javid Shah, thank you. I'm Yisrael Chai. All right, let's go back to this documentary because we haven't even gone to the good part yet. This is like the PTSD part, but the funeral part is amazing. The funeral part is so good.
کم کم نظرات جنجالی آیت الله برای گروه‌های غیر مذهبی در انقلاب که رهبری او را پذیرفته بودند نمایان شد.
زنها گمان نکنند که این مقام زن است که باید قزک کرده بیرون برد با سر باز و بلوغ. این عروسک بازی است، نه زن.
نظرات رهبر انقلاب در مورد آزادی‌های فردی، حجاب، موسیقی و تلویزیون زودتر از آنچه انتظار می‌رفت اعلام شدند و خمینی هواداران خود را برای اسلام مورد نظرش آماده می‌کرد. نشانه‌های حکومت اسلامی آیت الله خمینی که روز به
literally Muslim Nazis, right? Literally Muslim Nazis. Wait, where's my mouse here? There we go. Do you see that? Literally Muslim Nazis. And, his views on, like, television and music, for example, it was all banned. Did you know that when the Islamic regime took over in 1979, they banned VCRs. They also banned tape cassettes, which is really crazy to think about because one of the ways that, Khomeini back in the 1970s when he was in exile, one of the ways that Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, spread his messages and jihad in Iran before he took over was through tape cassettes. This Islamic pedophile literally shared his messages, recorded them on tape cassettes, and they smuggled them secretly into the country and passed them around. Cassette tapes. And then as soon as the Islamic regime took over, the first thing they did is they banned cassette tapes. They banned music. They banned VCRs. Guys, I remember this. I actually remember as a child when I was when I visited occupied Iran as a child. It was so strange for me. I would go to someone's house and whenever you wanted to watch something, they would have like a safe or like a secret room. And they would go in this secret room, which is like, covered or something and hidden. And they would pull out the VCR, hook it up to the, blow the dust off of it, hook it up to the TV, play whatever they wanted to play. And then they would take the VCR and put it back into their safe or their secret room or whatever. Yeah, I remember that. And this is, the first time I visited Iran, I was 4. So imagine a, 4-year-old who's pretty much grown up in Canada. As a 4-year-old, I go to occupied Iran. And, in Canada, we had a VCR at the time, of course. It's like, the late 80s. And then in Iran, though, no one had a VCR. And imagine how confused I was as a 4-year-old child. Where people are like, okay, we're going to watch something. And then I was repeatedly told, Golsa, don't tell anyone we have a VCR. It's a secret. It's a family secret or a friend's secret. And I'm like, okay. And they would go grab the VCR, plug it in, play whatever they wanted. And then when they were done, they would take the VCR and hide it again. Ah. Welcome to the Islamic regime.
روز آشکارتر میشد زنگ خطر را برای جریان روشنفکری ایران به صدا درآورد. آنها که خود راه پیروزی خمینی در روزهای نخست را هموار کرده بودند، حالا می‌دیدند که قربانی حکومت اسلامی آیت الله خمینی شدند.
ما روشنفکر نمی‌خوایم. این روشنفکر البته
Whoa, look at that. We don't want intellectuals, right? So guys, all the intellectuals, all the progressives, the progressive left that was anti-Shah and they were pro-Islamic regime. Look, as soon as the Muslim Nazis took over, they're like, we don't want intellectuals. We don't want progressives.
در بین روشنفکرها در بین
They don't want intellectuals. They just want sheep. They want followers of Islam. That's all they want.
طبقات تحصیل کرده بسیار اشخاص صحیح هستند لکن اینهایی که
He's like, sure, among the educated classes, there are some correct people.
با قلم دارند بر ضد ملت قلم
But he's like, but those who write against the nation. So when he says the nation, he means Islam. He's like, sure, there might be some intellectuals, but those who write against Islam with their pens
فرسایی میکنند و با قدم دارند بر ضد ملت.
So whenever he says nation, he means Islam, right? He's like, anyone who takes action against Islam.
اقدام میکنند اینها سرکوب خواهند
Ah. So he's like, sure, there might be some intellectuals that are correct, you know, Muslim intellectuals, but he basically says any intellectual, he's basically saying anyone who speaks out against Islam will be punished. And by punished, he means executed, right? He's not like, they're not mincing words. He's literally saying anyone who speaks out against Islam will be executed, right? Welcome to Sharia law. Welcome to the Islamic regime. Welcome to the hell that Iranians have been dealing with for the last 47 years.
دیدهای خمینی تنها به این گروه‌ها خلاصه نشد و با بالا گرفتن انتقادات از سوی احزاب سیاسی زمان حذف رقبا و مخالفانش فرا رسید.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing. So even though the progressives and the intellectuals and the communists and the whatever anti-West whatever people, even though they all supported Khomeini, as soon as Khomeini came to power, he basically executed all of them, right? Like from I think it was like from the mid 80s until like 1989. In the span of about 5 or 6 years, they mass slaughtered over 30,000 people. Now, here's the thing. The mass slaughter of Iranians by the Islamic regime back in the late 80s, that was the biggest mass slaughter of Iranians in, a single time frame or period. 30,000 people, over 30,000 people in 5 to 6 years. That is until 6 months ago, January 8 and 9. When in the span of 2 days alone, this same Islamic regime slaughtered over 40,000 innocent Iranians. The number is probably somewhere closer to, I don't know, 80,000 or 100,000. We don't know. But what we do know is that it's at least 40,000. Yeah.
خمینی و مریدانش حذف منتقدان را از احزاب لیبرال و ملی شروع کردند و بعد به تدریج به سراغ دیگر احزابی رفتند که با نگاه آنها به حکومت اسلامی زاویه داشتند. در ماه‌های نخست سال 60 روحانیون حامی آیت الله خمینی با حمایت او لایحه‌ای را به نام لایحه قصاص به مجلس شورای اسلامی فرستادند. این لایحه احکام سنگسار و قطع دست را بر اساس موازین اسلام در ایران
Oh look, so one of the first things, one of the priorities of the Islamic regime was legalizing the sentences of stoning and the amputation of hands. Tell me again that the Shah of Iran was a dictator. Tell me again that the Shah of Iran was a dictator. I dare you to say that to any Iranian. The Shah of Iran was protecting us Iranians from these 7th century savages. Because as soon as they came into power, one of the first things they did is they legalized stoning and they legalized amputating hands. That's the Islamic regime for you. Yeah. By the way, stoning and amputation is still part of the law. These are the priorities of the Islamic regime.
رسمیت میداد، اما طرح آن بلافاصله با اعتراض و مخالفت برخی گروه‌های سیاسی مواجه شد. مهمترین آنها جبهه ملی بود که از هوادارانش خواست تا برای اعتراض به این لایحه راهپیمایی کنند.
جبهه ملی
آیت الله خمینی که تحمل اعتراض احدی به برنامه‌هایش برای حکومت اسلامی را نداشت، در یک سخنرانی جنجالی جبهه ملی ایران و رهبران آن را مرتد و از دین خارج شده معرفی کرد.
Okay, so that particular political party, the National Front or Party or whatever, because they were protesting, right? They were using their democratic freedoms, or I mean, they thought they still had, right? They thought they still had the same freedoms that they had under the Shah of Iran, right? Because under the Shah of Iran, there was democracy. Under the Shah of Iran, people could protest. So these people thought that they would have the same rights under an Islamic Sharia dictatorship. So when this political party said, you know what, we are going to democratically and peacefully march to protest against this bill that's calling for the stoning and amputation of people, Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, responded by saying that they're apostates and enemies of Islam. And guys, what happens to apostates? What happens to enemies of Islam? They're executed. So Khomeini killed them. 47 years. For 47 years, Iranians have been protesting the Islamic regime from the very beginning. Right back in 1979, when the Islamic terrorists were turning Iran into a 7th century Islamic hellhole, Iranians were protesting right from the get-go. And they were executed then, and they're being executed now. Remember, in Islam, apostasy is a crime punishable by death. So when Khomeini calls them apostates, he's basically giving the green card, the green light. He's giving the green light for them to be executed in the name of Islam and Allah.
امروز دعوت به راهپیمایی دو بعد از ظهر دعوت به راهپیمایی است در مقابل این حکم غیر انسانی اسلام.
Do you see that? Like, did you see the Durkas? So when Khomeini is like, these people who are marching against our bill because they're complaining that we want to stone people and amputate them, they're trying to kill Islam. And then when he says that, you can see like the mullahs, they're like crying and they're hitting their heads like, ooh, like the mullahs are crying because apparently if we don't agree to having people being stoned to death or having their limbs amputated, that's against Islam. That's an attack on Islam. And the mullahs are like crying. They're like, oh no, they're trying to kill Islam.
تیشه برداشتند و به ریشه اسلام میزنند باید چه بکنیم؟ در تمام طول سلطنت رضا خان و محمد رضا اما که اظهار قابل دو بعد از ظهر دعوت به راهپیمایی است در مقابل.
See, okay, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's literally like crying and he's hitting his head while Khomeini is talking about like how anyone who protests against stoning people to death and, you know, amputating their limbs, if you protest that, you're an enemy of Islam. And then this mullah, this Durka is like, oh no, they're trying to kill Islam. Watch this.
این حکم غیر انسانی اسلام.
Look at that. It's really people are.
ما با اینایی که اظهار دوستی میکنند و تیشه برداشتند و به ریشه اسلام میزنند باید چه بکنیم؟
He's like, what should we do with those who profess friendship but take up an axe and strike at the root of Islam?
در تمام طول سلطنت رضا خان و محمد رضا یک هم که جسارتی به قرآن کریم نشد.
Wow. So he's like, during the entire reign of Reza Shah the Great and Shahanshah Aryamer, there was no reference to the Quran. Yeah, because they weren't savage, inbred, jihadi durkas like you. Because they understood that a modern secular country provides freedom of religion to everyone, right? So, guys, their issue with the Shah of Iran wasn't that he was a dictator, because he was not a dictator. That's a lie. That's taqiyya. That's taqiyya. Their issue with the Shah of Iran is that he gave women the right to vote. Is that he basically allowed freedom of religion for everyone. Is that he allowed women to run for office. Is that he didn't force women to cover their hair. Their issue with the Shah of Iran is that he was not a durka, a jihadi Muslim who wanted to impose jihad on the world. That was the real issue with the Shah of Iran. He was an enemy of Islam, but they pretended it was taqiyya, right? And then he's like, oh, look, the Shah of Iran was an enemy of Islam. And then everyone's like hitting their heads like, oh, no, Muhammad jihad, right?
خمینی ملیگرایی را جریانی وابسته به غرب و آمریکا یعنی
see, guys, so now we get to America. So Khomeini, right? Remember, Khomeini is the one that called up Jimmy Carter and he was like, hey, Jimmy, if you allow me to take over Iran and turn it into a 7th century Islamic hellhole, we promise to be your friend. You know, pinky promise we will protect American interests. Meanwhile, Khomeini, he considered nationalism to be a movement dependent on the West and America, the great Satan, right?
دشمن اصلیش میدانست.
America, his main enemy. So the entire time that Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, this evil demon man, was calling up Jimmy Carter, and he was like, "Oh, hey Jimmy, don't worry, we're BFFs, don't worry. Yeah, sure. Like I want to impose an Islamic caliphate, and you know I want to bring Sharia law to the entire world. But don't worry, we're friends. We're cool. Yeah. Taqiyya, guys, taqiyya. Remember, if their lips are moving, they are lying. If their lips are moving, they're lying. It started in 1979 and it's continuing today. And this is why you cannot trust the Islamic regime with any sort of deal or negotiation. Because the entire, and I've said this in Iran Revolution Live, I said this in my interviews, one of the core foundational pillars of the Islamic regime is this jihad with America, the great Satan. Never forget that. And you're seeing the proof right here in this Iranian documentary, which, by the way, you'd never see a documentary like this in English, right?
پس از پیروزی انقلاب، آیت الله خمینی این دشمنی را با حمله به دوستان منطقه‌ای آمریکا شروع کرد. اسرائیل اولین هدف رهبر انقلاب اسلامی بود.
Yep. There you go. Right. So as soon as the Islamic regime took over, it's not just death to America, it's death to Israel. Why? Because Israel is an ally of the United States. Yep.
مرداد ماه سال 1358 خمینی مسلمانان جهان را به اتحاد علیه اسرائیل دعوت کرد و با نامگذاری آخرین جمعه ماه رمضان به عنوان روز قدس از آنها خواست تا در
Guys, Al-Quds Day. You know that like fake Palestinian jihadi terrorist hate fest, Al-Quds Day? Like, guys, when I tell you that everything about Palestine is fake, their identity is fake, their flag is fake. Remember, their flag was invented by like some British guy in the early 1900s. You know, their culture is fake. Everything is fake about them. Even Al-Quds Day, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Al-Quds Day, their jihadi terrorist, fest, is fake because it was invented by the Islamic regime in 1979. So even Al-Quds Day is not even Palestinian. Like, the Palestinian identity is one of the biggest, like, fake things in the world. Like, there is nothing faker than Palestine. Because even Al-Quds Day, and then, but some of them are like, oh, Al-Quds Day is religious, but what? No, it's literally not religious. Al-Quds Day was literally invented by this Muslim pedophile who wrote a book explaining how it's okay to sodomize infants. Yeah. I'm Goldie Ghamari, and now you know. There you go. So there you go. There's the history of Al-Quds Day. The Palestinian jihadi terrorist hate fest was invented by a Muslim pedophile in 1979 who wrote a book about how it's okay to sodomize infant girls. Yeah. Great job. Great job, Palestine. Great job.
در این روز همبستگی خود را با مسلمانان فلسطین به
right? Palestinian Muslims, right? Al-Quds Day is about supporting Palestinian Muslims, right?
نمایش بگذارند.
Yeah. Literal demons on earth.
روز قدس روزی است که باید سرنوشت ملت‌های مستضعف معلوم شود. باید ملت‌های مستضعف اعلام وجود بکنند در مقابل مستکبرین.
Oh yeah, by the way, the whole narrative of like, oh, we're oppressed, right? When Palestinians are like, oh, we're oppressed, blah, blah, blah. No, you're not. This whole language and narrative of oppression also came from the Islamic regime, right? Like, even the lines that they use today about how, oh, we're Palestine, we're oppressed. No, you're not. You're making it up. You're the colonizers. You're the ones trying to invade Israel. Everyone knows that. Like, everything about your identity is fake. Even your cause is fake, right? I mean, this is Khomeini starting the language and rhetoric to change the narrative around, right? Like, this is where the gaslighting began. And now he's calling the Palestinians oppressed. Yeah, okay, buddy.
باید همونطور که ایران قیام کرد و دماغ مستکبرین را به خاک مالید.
No, okay, so Iran didn't rise up. The Islamic regime rose up. You are a foreign invader, and Islam rose up to overtake Iran. But this is part of the gaslighting, right? This is part of the gaslighting. Remember, whenever they want to get the support of the Iranian people in the nation, they'll say Iran. But whenever they're powerful, they'll talk about Islam. Remember, this is the same guy earlier in this live stream I shared with you. This is the same guy who earlier said that Iran is the enemy of Islam. So if Iran is the enemy of Islam, according to this Muslim pedophile, why is it that he's now saying Iran rose up? Do you see the gaslighting here? Just pay attention to that, because that's really important.
و خواهد مالید تمام ملت‌ها قیام کنند و این جرثومه‌های فساد را به زباله‌دان‌ها بریزند.
Wow.
در گام بعد با اشغال سفارت آمریکا و
look, now it's the American hostage crisis. Yeah. The American hostage crisis. Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy Carter and the Democrats, right? Someone should send this to Tucker Carlson, right?
به گروگان گرفتن دیپلمات‌های این کشور توسط دانشجویان پیرو آیت الله خمینی، رابطه ایران و آمریکا قطع و رهبر انقلاب اسلامی به رویاهایش نزدیکتر شد.
سفارتخانه‌ها حق ندارند که جاسوسی بکنن، توطئه بکنن. به اینها جاسوسی می‌کردن، توطئه می‌کردن.
So apparently the American hostage crisis happened because, according to these jihadi Durkas, the Americans were spying and inciting, right? Yeah. Remember, this happened after this guy, Khomeini, called Jimmy Carter, and he's like, hey, Jimmy, I know that I want to bring Islam to Iran, but don't worry, You and I, we're cool. We're cool. We love America. American interests will be protected. Pinky promise. I pinky swear. Right? And Jimmy Carter is like, oh, okay, all right, I'll pinky swear. Sure, you look like a demon, but all right, whatever. Yeah, okay, let's do it. I'll go back to farming my peanuts. Ho hum. Right? And then as soon as these terrorists take over, the American hostage crisis happens, right? I mean, then this is not even going into all the Iranians that they massacred, right? I'm just focusing on the Americans right now. Yeah. Remember, if their lips are moving, they're lying.
آیت الله خمینی برای توجیه اشغال سفارت آمریکا و به گروگان گرفتن دیپلمات‌های این کشور، سفارتخانه را لانه جاسوسی و آمریکا را شیطان بزرگ نامید. او بدون توجه
There you go. So in order to justify taking Americans hostage, the Islamic regime and Khomeini called America Shaitan Bozorg, the great Satan. Yeah. Shaitan is how we say Satan in Persian. Yeah. It's an Arabic word, I believe. Shaitan. So, the great Satan. Yep. There you go. These are the Muslim pedophiles calling the Americans the great Satan. Good job, Jimmy Carter. Great job.
به عواقب ناشی از این دشمنی در برابر تهدیدهای آمریکا ایستاد و رئیس جمهوری این کشور را به سخره گرفت.
نمیدونم شما این مثل رو میدونید. من حیفم میاد که مثل بزنم به شیر که میگن وقتی که مقابل یک دشمن میستد هم فریاد میزند و هم
Okay, so this is not a totally accurate translation. So he says, حیفم میاد مقابل بکنم با شیر, which means like, I don't like comparing myself to a lion. The reason he says that is because, remember, the lion and sun, okay? The lion represents the Iranian identity. The lion and sun is a symbol that existed for thousands of years before Islam was invented, okay? So when the Islamic regime took over, they destroyed our flag and they destroyed any signs and imagery with the lion and sun, because the lion and sun represents Iran before Islam. Okay, so that's why he says, I'm hesitant to compare myself to a lion, but in this example, I kind of feel like a lion that's roaring or something, right? So I just want to make that very clear, because the lion has represented the Iranian people for thousands and thousands of years. It's literally in like our ancient inscriptions going back like 3,000, 4,000 years. So this is why the Islamic regime sees the lion as a threat to Islam, because the lion represents Iran before the invention of Islam.
هم فریاد میزند و هم از اون طرفش چیزی بیرون میاد و هم دومش حرکت میده.
Yeah, and like he wasn't a lion. He was like honestly, I don't want to call him any animal, because that would be an insult to animals, right? Like even cockroaches serve a purpose, right? Like all animals are God's creatures, and they serve a purpose within the ecosystem. And I would never want to insult any animal by comparing this garbage to an animal.
فریاد میزند برای اینکه طرفا بترسونه. میترسد از این جهت ازش چیزی هم ساده.
Oh, so basically he's now ridiculing Jimmy Carter. He's saying Jimmy Carter is, afraid of the other party. He's afraid that he's going to lose to the Republicans. No, maggots serve a purpose. Maggots serve a very important purpose in nature, because maggots are a very important part of the ecosystem. Maggots help to decompose, corpses. So we actually need maggots. Sure, I mean, they're disgusting looking or whatever, but maggots serve a very useful purpose in the animal ecosystem, right? So I would never, ever, ever insult any living being, and none of God's creatures, right? Because even maggots are God's creatures. I would never insult any of God's creatures by comparing this to that.
میشن دومش حرکت میداد برای اینکه میانجی پیدا کند. آقای کارتر رو من حیفم میاد که بگم شیر، لکن یه موجودی است که همین کارا را دارد میکنه.
He's like Jimmy Carter is like this scared lion that's like, you know, roaring and like wagging its tail, but it's like it's you know, afraid and doesn't know what to do, right?
سخنان ضد آمریکا.
Wow, so look, they're like these Durkas, even back in 1979, they're literally marching and they're chanting and they're like giving like anti-American slogans. And this says like Allah. Wait, what does the rest of this Durka sign say? Look. Oh, they're saying Carter Nabud ast, which means Carter is destroyed, right? So they're even back in 1979, as soon as they took over, guys, even though Jimmy Carter and the Democrats helped these Durkas come into power in 1979, as soon as the Durkas came to power, they literally started the Death to America chants and they started, you know, threatening Jimmy Carter right away. This is why you can't trust them. You literally can't trust them.
سخنان ضد آمریکایی خمینی و تحقیر رئیس جمهوری این کشور در مصاحبه‌های متعدد از یک سو و انفعال دولت کارتر در برخوردی قاطع با رهبر انقلاب از سوی دیگر، این باور را به میلیون‌ها هوادار خمینی داد که او قادر است هر چه را میگوید عملی کند. موضوعی که به رویای صدور انقلاب اسلامی خمینی جانی تازه میداد، اما در این حال هزینه سنگینی به مردم ایران تحمیل می‌کرد.
کیا میترسونند؟ من از بچگی تو جنگ بزرگ شدم، تا حالا نگفتم. ما مورد هجوم زلقی ها بودیم، مورد هجوم رجبلی ها بودیم و خودمون تفنگ داشتیم و در این حالی که
دشمنی آیت الله خمینی با آمریکا و جهان غرب تنها به قطع رابطه با این کشور و متحدان آن در منطقه ختم نشد. بار دیگر کلیدواژه اسلام و احکام دینی مبنای کار قرار گرفت و رهبر انقلاب دستور داد تا فضای دانشگاه، کتب درسی و استادان همگی اسلامی شوند.
دانشگاه‌ها در سر تا سر دنیا در خدمت ابرقدرت‌ها هستند و بودند و ما می‌خوایم نباشد.
So basically he's like, the universities are in support of the superpowers, the great Satan. We cannot allow them to continue. And everyone's like, Allahu Akbar, Allah, right? So this is literally the Islamification. This is literally like, right? Whenever Islam and Sharia law comes into power, they go after the intellectuals. Why? Because anyone with half a brain, anyone who is educated, will look at Islam and be like, what in the Allahu Akbar Durka jihad is this? This cult belongs in the 7th century, does not belong in the modern world, right? Any intellectual will look at this and be like, what in the Allahu Akbar jihad am I looking at right now? Yeah, this is why they went after the universities. And they Islamified all the universities because knowledge and intelligence is a threat to Islam. Anyone with half a brain is not going to be Muslim. It's just the way it is. Right? So Khomeini khabar marge, she's like, we're gonna Islamify all the universities, and everyone's like, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah, right?
تا سر دنیا در خدمت ابرقدرت‌ها هستند و بودند و ما می‌خوایم نباشد.
Of course. They got into the Magbars. Okay, let me just say this part. So they're like Allahu Akbar, and then they say Khomeini Rahbar, which means, Khomeini is our leader. And then let's see what guys, I'm going to let you guys tell me in the live stream chat what the Magbar is. You guys know what Magbar means. So let's see who they're Magbaring. Oh, okay, that was a hard one. I thought they were going to say Magbar Omrika, but they didn't. So they're like Magbar Monafiqin. Basically, they're like death to like the infidels, or death to the enemies of Islam, the Munafiqin, right? So they're just like death to anyone who's against Islam. Yeah. Welcome to the Islamic regime.
در دانشگاه‌های ما هم اصل علمش هم انقدر نبود. یه عده البته هم متعهد بودن و همچی، اما در اقلیت واقع شده بودن که مشت محکم کمونیستان نمیذاشتن اینها کاری انجام بدن.
So now he's going after the communists. Remember, guys, the unholy alliance of the red and the black, the Islamists and the communists. But once the Islamic regime took over, they started targeting the communists because the communists are useful idiots of the Islamic regime. And now he's attacking the communists, right? Because the communists are anti-religion, or so they say. But anyways, it's just, guys, it's literally like Game of Durka. It's just Game of Durka, but back in 1979. There's no honor amongst thieves, right? So I actually have zero sympathy for any of these people.
حالا مگر دانشگاه باز باشد، اساتید متعهد داشته باشیم، نمیگذارن اینها که دانشگاه باشه. حتی دانشگاه دانشش هم درش نبود.
By the way, guys, if you're having trouble reading along with the subtitles, that's not you. This is a pretty accurate description of what he's saying. It's just Khomeini is just such an idiot. Khomeini is literally like an inbred, uneducated Muslim pedophile idiot that his speeches literally make no sense. He just like says the most garbage nonsense, right? That it's honestly like, even I'm listening to him and I'm like, what the hell are you saying, right? It's like listening to like a third world, inbred, uneducated savage speak, right? Like there's just, you know what this is? Okay, I will tell you exactly the equivalent of this speech, okay? Let me find it. So I'll tell you, I have the perfect example. Okay, so for our non-Iranian viewers, the level of education of Khomeini's speech, or anytime he speaks, it's the equivalent of this person, okay? So I want you to listen to this, and then imagine this in Persian. This is the IQ level of the person that we're dealing with.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean. So I'm
what you just listened to, that's that's Durka, right? Because remember, guys, Durka is not about a language. Durka is not a nationality. Durka is not, you know, like a language. This is literally Durka, but this is Durka in English, okay? So, what you just watched, this is the English version of the Durka that we're watching in Persian, okay? So, going back to the documentary, now, if you're having trouble following along in the subtitles, that's okay, because Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, is literally just talking garbage. Like he doesn't say anything that makes sense. The only time he makes sense is when he's making like analogies about earthquakes and, you know, someone falling from a roof and impregnating their aunt, or, you know, whatever, right? But other than that, like his speeches literally make no sense. And the wild part is like everyone's just like sitting there and they're nodding as if he's like this great educated sage. Meanwhile, the guy's literally an inbred, low IQ Muslim pedophile idiot, right? So yeah, anyways, that's the context of the subtitles when he's speaking. If it doesn't make sense, it's because it literally does not make sense. It's like, this is like the Iranian version of bananas and rice, except 1,000 times more evil.
حتی دانشگاه دانشش هم درش نبود. اگر دانش درش بود چرا الان بعد از این همه سال و میلیاردها خرج و بودجه این ملت صرف شد و حالا وقتی که میخوان یه مریضی را که یه قدری مرضش مشکل است معالجه کنیم میگید باید برد بخاره؟ این وابستگی نیست؟ شما یه همچین دانشگاهی میخواهید که بعد از 50 سال مریضش باید برد در انگلستان خودش را معالجه کنه؟
You know what's wild about this? So he's like, after 50 years, yeah, because it takes time to turn Iran from a third world hellhole back when it was under the control of you Muslim clerics. And then Reza Shah the Great took over in 1925, started modernizing Iran. And now you're complaining about the fact that Iran was so rich and prosperous that the country could afford to send Iranian patients to other countries if they needed assistance? That's a problem for you? Meanwhile, by the way, don't forget, Mujtaba Khamenei, the current supreme dictator of the Islamic regime, went to England to deal with his infertility issues. Do you guys remember that? You guys remember that? So, this is the hypocrisy of the Islamic regime. Back then, they're like, why should we send Iranians to England for for medical issues? Meanwhile, they themselves are literally sending their own people to England. Mujtaba was sent to England for his impotence issues. Okay, this is a current cardboard supreme dictator of the Islamic regime, right? This is the third supreme dictator, the cardboard one. So keep that in mind. This is literally how they gaslight people. Okay, so back in 1979, you're right, they're engaging in Turkey, and they're like, why should we send Iranians to England for treatment? Meanwhile, the current supreme dictator was literally sent to England to treat his wee-wee problems, okay? Because apparently he has problems with his wee-wee, right? This is the whole scenario of rules for thee, but not for me, right? England is evil, except of course when it comes to us, when we want treatment for ourselves.
میخواهید که بعد از 50 سال مریضش باید برد در انگلستان خودش را معالجه کنه؟
Yeah, okay. And the Islamic regime has been in power for 50 years. The Islamic regime has been in power for 50 years, and you're sending your people to England to deal with your wee-wee problems. Mujtaba Khamenei, the current supreme dictator, was sent to England to get treatment for his impotence. Yeah. Do you see how they lie? Do you see how they gaslight?
در نتیجه تغییرات عمده فرهنگی در دانشگاه‌ها، تحقیق در بسیاری از رشته‌ها محدود و گروهی از اساتید با تجربه از مراکز علمی تصفیه و نهایتاً مجبور به ترک کشور شدند.
وحدت با روحانی، وحدت با دانشجو، وحدت ملت است. وحدت ملت.
Guys, look, it's mullahs with guns. Mullahs with guns, right? Remember, you've seen the footage. You've seen the more recent footage of mullahs with guns, right? Even back then, in the late 1970s, the Durka mullahs were walking around with guns. These are supposed to be spiritual men, right? These are men of God, right? Look at them. Ugh, I can smell them from here. Ugh, so disgusting. خاک تو سر همشون.
اما تغییرات بنیادین در دانشگاه‌ها و مراکز علمی کشور به اینجا خلاصه نشد و برای هرچه اسلامی تر شدن محیط دانشگاهی وحدت حوزه و دانشگاه شکل گرفت و روحانیون به دانشگاه‌ها وارد شدند.
دانشگاه بر ضد آمریکا در سبیل خدا متحد می‌شوند. متحد می‌شوند.
اون وحشتی که دانشگاهی ها از معمم داشتند و اون وحشتی که معممین از دانشگاهی ها داشتند به اذن خدای تبارک و تعالی مرتفع شد.
بعد از این تغییرات بنیادین انقلاب اسلامی در داخل، حالا خمینی به دنبال صدور الگوی حکومت خود به آن سوی مرزهای کشور بود. او باور داشت که با تغییر رژیم‌های منطقه موازنه قدرت را در خاورمیانه به نفع آرمان‌های انقلاب اسلامی
So this is really important because you know how the Islamic regime accuses Israel of, occupying various countries, and how, all of the anti-Jewish, Jew-hating, anti-Israel conspiracy theorists are like, oh, Israel controls the world. Israel's the oppressor. Israel's the colonizer, right? It's actually the Islamic regime. This is what we've been trying to tell you. It's the Islamic regime that is the colonizer. It's the Islamic regime that's the oppressor. They don't hide the fact. They don't hide the fact that they want to take over the world. And yet, for some reason, all these people believe this insane conspiracy theory about how Israel is the oppressor. No, it's the opposite. Israel is literally defending itself. Israel has every right to exist. I'm actually more extreme than Israelis. You know why? Because I believe that Judea and Samaria belongs to Israel, and I believe that Gaza belongs to Israel. I don't think there should be any non-Israelis living in Gaza or in Judea and Samaria. I don't call it the West Bank because it's not the West Bank. That entire land belongs to Israel. It's the Islamic regime that is trying to occupy, right? And earlier today, when I showed you that video of the Durka jihadis complaining about southern Lebanon, it's because the Islamic regime back in 1979, through Hezbollah, occupied southern Lebanon. Why? Because this was their plan. This was Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, it was his plan. And they're not hiding it. They're not hiding it. But again, this is a Persian language documentary, right? Like, this is the truth. You're never going to see this in an English language documentary because this doesn't fit the mainstream media's narrative. This does not fit the Western narrative, right? Yeah, no, I don't think Gaza should exist. I don't think the West Bank is a thing. Like, it's Judea and Samaria, and Gaza belongs to Israel. That's just the way I see it, right? Like, Palestine is fake. It's totally fake. Anyways. But look at this, right? So this is what I mean. The Islamic regime is the oppressor. The Islamic regime is the colonizer. I haven't watched the rest of this. I haven't watched this at all. It's my first time. But I have a sneaking suspicion that they're now going to talk about Hezbollah and southern Lebanon.
او باور داشت که با تغییر رژیم‌های منطقه موازنه قدرت را در خاورمیانه به نفع آرمان‌های انقلاب اسلامی خود تغییر خواهد داد. خمینی که الگوی نظام اسلامی خود را مناسب‌ترین نوع حکومت‌ها برای مسلمانان می‌دانست، مردم کشورهای منطقه را به انقلابی مشابه آنچه در ایران رخ داده بود دعوت می‌کرد.
اگر چنانچه با هوشیاری و بیداری این آمال متحقق بشود، خواهید غلبه کرد بر همه مشکلاتتون و نخواهند توانست به شما چیره بشوند.
در میان کشورهای مسلمان منطقه، عراق بیشتر از بقیه از سیاست صدور انقلاب اسلامی احساس خطر می‌کرد. شیعیان در این کشور اکثریت جمعیت را تشکیل می‌دادند، در حالی که حکومت عراق در دست بعثی‌ها بود. دشمنی رهبر انقلاب ایران با حزب بعث به قدری بالا گرفت که او با محکوم کردن حکومت عراق نیروهای مسلح این کشور را به قیام و کودتا تشویق کرد و بدین ترتیب عراق اولین مقصد صدور انقلاب اسلامی در نظر گرفته شد.
دولت عراق از اول دولتی نبود، اینا مجلس هم ندارن. شما خیال میکنید حالا
So keep in mind, this is back when Saddam Hussein was in power, right? So as soon as the Islamic regime took over, their first target was Saddam Hussein. And guys, this isn't a defense of Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was a dictator. I'm not getting involved in that stuff, but I'm just saying it's like Durka versus Durka, right? So we're basically just watching Game of Durka right now.
دولتی است که خودش یه عده نظامی آمده و خودشون دور هم نشستن هر چی میخوان میکنن. این صدام حسین عقلش هم خیلی
I called it. I said Saddam Hussein, right? So he's like, oh, Saddam Hussein, it's not my mind is very bad. He's like, oh, Saddam Hussein, he's very stupid. His mind is very stupid. So yeah, he's basically saying Saddam Hussein is a stupid person and he needs to be overthrown. So yeah, I called it Saddam Hussein.
اینها ضد اسلامن و باید
Yeah, okay, so now he's saying Saddam Hussein is anti-Islam and he must be overthrown.
این مملکت شریف عراق خودش از سنگین ها بیرون بیارد. این ارتش عراق لازم است که پشت بکند به این حزب غیر اسلامی، پشت بکند به این افراد غیر اسلامی.
حمایت‌های آیت الله خمینی و نظام نوپای اسلامیش از احزاب شیعه در عراق به ویژه حزب الدعوه و دعوت عراقی‌ها به تکرار تجربه انقلاب اسلامی در کشورشان خیلی زود زنگ خطر را برای حکومت عراق به صدا درآورد و رهبران حزب بعث را به مقابله به مصر و نهایتاً حمله نظامی به ایران ترغیب کرد. بعد از حمله عراق به ایران و شروع رسمی جنگ در شهریور 59 آیت الله خمینی در پیام رادیو تلویزیونی
Okay, so it's not September 1970. That's the wrong date. So I think what was it? When did it start? Like it was like 1980. Yeah, so 1980. So basically as soon as Khomeini Khabar Margesh targeted Iraq, then the Iran-Iraq war started. Yeah. I was actually born during the Iran-Iraq war, guys. I'm a war baby. Because I was born in 1985, and the Iran-Iraq war lasted started in 1980 and went until 1988. And I was born in Khuzestan, and Khuzestan was one of the most heavily attacked places by the Iraqis. Anyway.
خود به مردم ایران پیش بینی کرد که جنگی اتفاق نخواهد افتاد.
ملت ایران نباید خیال بکنن که جنگی شروع شده است و حالا فرض کنید که دست و پای خودمون رو کم نه، این حرفا نیست. یه چیزی آوردن یه بم اینجا انداختن و فرار کردن رفتن. الان هم دولت ایران جواب اونها را مشغولن که جواب اونها را بدن و میدن جواب اونها را. قوای بحریه‌شون به کلی از بین رفته است و قوای بحریه‌شون هم از بین خواهد رفت. شما خیال نکنید که یک چیزی.
اما برخلاف پیشبینی رهبر انقلاب، جنگ تمام نشد و عراق به پیشروی در خاک ایران ادامه داد. آیت الله خمینی که ادامه جنگ را اجتناب ناپذیر می‌دید، در یک سخنرانی جنگ را نعمتی الهی دانست که ایرانی‌ها را از رخوت و سستی نجات داده و آنها را بیدار خواهد کرد.
جنگ وقتی که واقع میشد، انسان را از اون خستگی و از اون
This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. So he's giving a speech here where he's basically saying that war is a good thing, right? He's saying war or jihad is a good thing because, you know, it's going to wake up a person. It's going to get their blood moving. It's going to give them a reason to exist, right? Do you see how these 7th century Durka jihadis think? They see war as a good thing because for them, war is jihad. This is how they were thinking in 1979. Do you think that their thinking has changed? These people are a 7th century Islamic death cult. They celebrate war. They worship war. They live for death and destruction and gore. It's literally a cult of martyrdom. So he's literally giving a speech about why war is a good thing. And yet somehow American administration and officials think that the Islamic regime is going to sign a peace deal with the United States? Really? Yeah, okay.
چیزهایی که سست میکند انسان را از اون سستی ها و خستگی ها بیرون میاد و فعالیت میکند و جوهره انسان که باید همیشه متحرک و فعال باشد بروز میکند.
Oh, okay, so he's basically saying war is a good thing because it keeps people moving. What about exercise, right? What about something normal? Maybe instead of, I don't know, maybe instead of saying, oh yeah, we should go to war and, like, you know, murder people. I don't know. Maybe if you want to wake people up and get them moving, I don't know, invest in an exercise program. But no, like, they literally have to go full jihad, right? The Durkas literally go full jihad. I'm going to take a quick break because I've been speaking for like 2 hours. I'm going to like get something from, I'm going to make myself some tea and I'll be right back. I have tea. But I'll be watching.
و در استراحت و در راحت و در این امور انسان هی کسل میشد، هی خمود میشد، قوای انسان خمود میشد و خصوصا اونهایی که به عیاشی عادت دارند یا به رفاه عادت دارند، اونها دیگه بدتر خواهند شد. لکن وقتی که جنگی در کار میاد و حماسه‌ای وجود پیدا میکند و تاریک میشد شب و روشن میشد روز و توپ انداخته میشد و اینها انسان را از اون حال خمودی و از اون حال سستی بیرون میکند و انسان اون واقع خودش را که فعال است و متحرک، اون واقع را بروز میداد. و یکی از امور که باز خیر بود برای ما این که دولت عراق فهمید که با کی طرف هست. اینها دائما هی پیش خودشون میگفتن که ما اگر همچی خیالات میبافتن که اگر ما حمله به ایران بکنیم در همون حمله اول دیگه کار تمام است و ما میریم برای مرکز ایران و همه جا. فهمیدن اینها که خیر کاری از اونها بر نمیاد و اگر چنانچه دولت ایران بخواهد اونها را انشاءالله به زودی از بین میبرد.
خمینی برای جنگ با عراق بیش از هر چیز دیگری نیازمند انتقال روحیه مقتدر و مصمم خود به توده‌هایی بود که حالا باید برای آرمان‌های او فدا می‌شدند. رهبر انقلاب با قدرتی خیره کننده و تنها با یک سخنرانی هزاران نفر از مردم ایران، از پیر و جوان، بزرگ و کوچک، زن و مرد را آماده جنگ و راهی جبهه‌ها می‌کرد.
Buyurun. Allah size köle eylesin. Buyurun. Size kurban olma. Buyurun. Kurban olma. Nerede balalar ciphadadır? Buyurun. Nerede balalar ciphadadır? Buyurun.
آنها این هدیه را مدیون رهبری بودند که در وجودش اندکی شک و تردید و ترس دیده نمی‌شد. این نیروها حتی حاضر بودند برای رهبرشان به راحتی از جان خود بگذرند. جنگ ایران و عراق فرصتی بود تا آیت الله خمینی از طریق آن اهداف سیاسی انقلاب اسلامی خود را محقق کند. در تمام طول جنگ خمینی هدف نهایی خود را ساقط کردن حکومت حزب بعث عراق عنوان می‌کرد و در برابر تلاش‌های بین‌المللی برای پایان دادن به جنگ شرط اصلی آتش‌بس را محاکمه سران حزب می‌دانست.
و ما نمی‌دانیم که چرا مسلمین و یعنی ممالک اسلامی، الله خود مسلمین با ما هستن، چرا ممالک اسلامی پای میان نمیگذارند و این آدم را به پای میز محاکمه نمیکشانند؟ از چه میترسند؟ صدام باید محاکمه بشد همونطوری که کارتر باید محاکمه بشد.
Whoa! So he's basically saying Saddam Hussein should be like tried and judged the same way that Jimmy Carter was. Look, do you see like how crazy? And again, this is not a defense of Saddam Hussein in any way, shape, or form. I'm not getting involved in internal Iraqi politics, but I'm just pointing out like how the Islamic regime is just like they're at war with everyone, right? And the other thing I want to point out is that I don't know if they mentioned this. I was listening, but I wasn't watching some of the footage. During the Iran-Iraq war, the Islamic regime literally used child soldiers, okay? Let me pull up an image here. I actually have a few family members who were forced to become not close, but like, you know, extended family members who were forced to become child soldiers, and they were murdered, right? Because what the Islamic regime did is they would like train the children, like they would indoctrinate them, and then they would put keys around their neck, and they would send the children out before the tanks so that the children would activate the landmines. And so the children would be, you know, blown to pieces by the landmines that the Iraqis put in Khuzestan. And that would clear the way for the tanks, right? So, yeah, look at this. Yep. These are the child soldiers used during the Iran-Iraq war. Okay? Right here. Oops. Sorry, stopped sharing my screen by mistake. Yeah. Yeah. I have extended family members who, I mean, I never met them. But I have like extended family members who were forced to become child soldiers in the Iran-Iraq war, and then they were sent out to detonate the landmines in order to clear the way for the military, for the tanks. Yeah. Welcome to the Islamic regime. I told you, everything that you think you know about the Islamic regime, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Guys, there is 47 years worth of war crimes and crimes against humanity that I could talk about. And everything that I've shared with you so far is literally just the tip of the iceberg. Right? Like when I say that these are demons on earth, they're literally demon. Like they're not human. They're not human. Like I don't view them as human. They're literally hell spawn. Okay? Here, let me show you some more. Let me show you some more images of child soldiers. And by the way, the Islamic regime today is using child soldiers at checkpoints in occupied Iran in order to, dissuade the IDF and the United States from attacking them, right? The Islamic regime has a well-documented history of using child soldiers because they use women and children as human shields. Yeah. There's a really, you know what? I think I actually posted an image about it on X. Let me see if I can find my post about it. Because like everything that we talk about, like I've spoken about all this stuff. I've shared images and photos. Here. So look at this. This is recent, okay? An 11-year-old Iranian boy killed in recent fighting was at a Revolutionary Guard checkpoint in Tehran when he died. Why? Because this 11-year-old boy was being used by the Islamic regime as a human shield so that, if he lost his life, they could claim that United States kills children. Yeah. This is how they manipulate the media. But this is not new. This tactic is not a new tactic because they were doing this back in the Iran-Iraq war with the Iraqi people, okay? With the Iraqi military. So this is why for us Iranians, we never ever blame anyone else for the deaths of the Iranian people. We only blame the Islamic regime because they have a well-documented history of using children as human shields. And what they would do is they would indoctrinate these children and they would put a key around their neck and they would say, this is the key to, heaven and your, 72 virgins or whatever. And then they would send these children out into the field, and the children knew very well that they're going to die. But the children were so indoctrinated, they were like, this is our duty in life. Our duty in life is to die for Allah. So that, when we die and the landmines detonate, the tanks can go through. I have more footage. Let me find the other one. So, oh yeah, here we go. Look at this. Oh, by the way, this is what a children's official government or Islamic regime issued children's education book looks like. So like in school, right, you have different classes, and in each class you get like a textbook from the teacher, and like everyone has the same standard textbook, and that textbook is approved by the Board of Education, right? And so you're like, okay, this is like your grade 5 math textbook, this is your grade 5 English textbook, this is your grade 5, I don't know, like history textbook or whatever. Yeah. This is what the government issued textbooks of the Islamic regime look like. This is what they give to children in schools in occupied Iran. Literal images literal images of child soldiers, okay? This is what the Islamic regime teaches kids, right? Here's a child soldier and he's got like grenades around his belt and he's like, yeah, yep. This is the curriculum of the Islamic regime. Now, thankfully, we Iranians, we're better than that. We're smarter than that. Because remember, the Iranian identity and the Iranian civilization has lasted for thousands of years. And the Iranian identity, Iranian civilization, and Iranian culture existed for thousands of years before Islam and jihad were invented. So we don't fall for this jihadi nonsense, right? Like they've been trying to indoctrinate us for 47 years. It's failed miserably. That's why the Islamic regime relies on their non-Iranian terrorist proxy groups, right? That's why the Islamic regime cares so much about Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. The Islamic regime cares more about a bunch of like inbred Arab terrorists occupying southern Lebanon than they do about the Iranian people. Why? Because Hezbollah has been indoctrinated, because they're a bunch of like rootless terrorists who've forgotten their culture. Same with the Pakistanis. The Pakistanis have forgotten their Indian roots and culture because the Pakistanis were colonized by the Arab Muslims. The difference with the Iranian people is that we were conquered, but we were never colonized, okay? So yes, we have been conquered, but they were never able to erase our Iranian identity, our language, our culture, our values, our poetry, our books, our music, our flag, our symbols. They were never able to erase the Iranian identity. Guys, before the Arab Muslim conquest began, when, Islam was invented 1400 years ago, many of the various, groups, peoples in the Middle East, none of them spoke Arabic. Think about it. Egyptians. Why is it that Egyptian people speak Arabic and they've forgotten their ancient original language? The reason that Egyptians speak Arabic is because when they were conquered by the Arab Muslims, they were forced to speak Arabic and they forgot their original language. 3,000 years ago, Egyptians didn't speak Arabic. Egyptians spoke Egyptian, but they forgot the language because they were forced to speak Arabic. Same thing with the Lebanese people. They also tried, same thing with the Assyrians and so many other people, right? Even Egyptian Coptic Christians speak Arabic. The original Egyptian language is lost to time and history. Why? Because the Arab Muslim invaders forced them to speak Arabic. And anyone who spoke the original Egyptian language had their tongue cut out or they were executed. Yeah. Go ask any Egyptian Christian Coptic. And I know many. Arabic is not the original language of Egypt. Arabic is the language of the colonizers. Now, Egyptians have managed to keep some aspects of their culture, but the language is forgotten. For us Iranians, however, they tried the same thing. For 200 years, the Arab Muslim invaders banned the Persian language. They would cut out the tongue of any Iranian who spoke Persian. The reason that we speak Persian today, and the reason that our language, the Persian language, has remained unchanged for the last 1400 years is because of someone named Ferdowsi. Ferdowsi is the Iranian version of Shakespeare. Ferdowsi revived the Persian language through his epic poem, the Shahnameh. Shahnameh means Book of Kings. Think of like the Odyssey, but even bigger, even more important. It took Ferdowsi 30 years to write the Shahnameh. And the Shahnameh is the reason why the Iranian language was not only preserved, but revived. Ferdowsi is like our equivalent of Shakespeare. Except for us, he's even more important, more impactful. Because Shakespeare wasn't fighting to preserve the English language. Ferdowsi was. Ferdowsi wrote his epic book, the Shahnameh, the Book of Kings, in order to counter 200 years of silence. And Ferdowsi is literally the reason why today we Iranians speak our own language, Persian, and we don't speak Arabic. And going back to this Durkha jihadi textbook from the Islamic regime, like I said, they have tried to indoctrinate us Iranians for the last 47 years with their, child soldiers and jihad and whatever, but it hasn't worked because our identity and our culture is incredibly strong. But look, these are images of child soldiers in Iraq. Sorry, not in Iraq. These are images of child soldiers during the Iran-Iraq War. These are Iranian children. So the Islamic regime has a well-documented history of using children as human shields and literally using children as soldiers. Yeah. The Shahnameh is there's a lot of like translations of the Shahnameh in English. You know what I'll do, guys? I will find I think there's like 1 or 2 translations that are the best. Let me find the best version and I'll share the link with all of you guys. But yeah, look at this. These are all like young Iranian children during the Iran-Iraq War. And they've all been indoctrinated, right? Like the headbands and all that stuff. Yeah, see? They even have their like Palestinian keffiyehs, right? Like their terrorist jihadi scarves. So there you go. Look at all these child soldiers. Look at all these child soldiers that are being sent off to detonate the landmines in order to clear the way for the military to go through, right? The child soldiers were literally fodder for the Islamic regime. So there you go. Anyways, that was a little segue from this evil demon. So now you know. Now you know. This is how evil the Islamic regime is. Like, when I tell you how evil they are, like I could spend 100 years talking nonstop about how evil the Islamic regime is and outline every single documented war crime and crime against humanity, and 100 years still would not be enough. Anyways, let's continue. Because, by the way, all of this is happening thanks to this evil demon man, Khomeini. But don't worry. We are going to get to his funeral, which I'm looking forward to because his funeral is going to be therapy for a lot of us. His funeral is when all the Durkhas are going to like start like crying and hitting their head.
او برای نفع خودش عمل میکرد و این ملعون برای نفع آمریکا عمل میکرد. او برای اینکه چند کیلومتر زمین خشک برای این لشکرکشی نمی‌کند و این همه جمعیت اسلام را چه از اون طرف و چه از این طرف به قتال وادارد و به کشتن بدهد و اون همه میلیاردها دینار عراقی و تومان ایرانی را به این دو کشور ضرر بزند و اون سلاح‌هایی که باید ما در مقابل دشمن و در مقابل صهیونیسم و امپریالیسم باید به کار بیاندازیم به روی هم بکشیم و این یک جنایتی است که صدام کرد.
این اصرار آیت الله خمینی به ادامه جنگ خسارات مالی سنگینی به کشور تحمیل می‌کرد و بسیاری از مردم را قربانی اصرار خود بر ادامه جنگ می‌کرد. با این وجود آیت الله خمینی فضای جنگی کشور را بهانه خوبی برای
Okay, you know what? Literally, guys, these are literally like this. These are the child soldiers that I was just speaking about, right? Right? See these? Yeah. Now we're gonna see the footage of the child soldiers. I'm so good at predicting these things, aren't I?
ساکت کردن مخالفان و منتقدان خود در داخل کشور میدید. رهبر انقلاب اسلامی با استفاده از فرصت پیش آمده در جنگ با عراق تمام منتقدان به عملکرد حکومت اسلامی خود را برای همیشه از صحنه سیاسی کشور کنار گذاشت و موفق شد تا جامعه اسلامی مورد نظرش را بسازد. جنگ آن چیزی بود که آیت الله خمینی برای مردم ایران می‌خواست. رهبر انقلاب اعتقاد داشت که ترویج روحیه شهادت توده‌های مذهبی بیشتری را به میدان خواهد کشاند و او
so the spirit of martyrdom would bring more people to the field, right? So again, jihad, right? So he's it's literally a death cult, right? So this death cult is basically saying, come to the war, become a martyr, get your 72 virgins in heaven, right? It's literally it's like a pedophile sex death club is what it is, right? Because all they care about is like pedophilia and then like martyrdom, and then they get their 72 virgins in you know their jihadi hell wherever they go to when they die.
از آنها در پیشبرد اهداف فرامرزی خود بهره ببرد.
الان داره بسوزه
در سال 1366 و در حالی که جنگ همچنان ادامه داشت، آیت الله خمینی از همه حجاجی که عازم عربستان سعودی بودند خواست
Okay, so this is 1987. This is 19 so now it's like 1987.
تا مراسم براءت از مشرکین را به جا آورند و علیه آمریکا که او شیطان بزرگ می‌خواند شعار دهند.
اون معارفی که در قرآن هست اونها بیان کنند برای ما.
Okay, guys, we're gonna get a lesson in Islam. Let's see what the Muslim pedophile says about what the Quran teaches, right? So this isn't me. This is coming from his mouth, okay? So the mouth of the Muslim pedophile founder of the Islamic regime. Let's see what the teachings of the Quran say. Their beloved book, right? Their Allahu Akbar book. So he says, the teachings in the Quran. All right, let's go back because we're going to get a lesson in Islam from the mouth of the horse itself. That's an insult to horses, but you know what I mean.
که در قرآن هست اونها بیان کنند برای ما. اینها از تأسف‌هایی است که ما باید در گور ببریم.
براءت از مشرکین به تعبیری از قرآن گفته می شود که در آن مسلمانان از مشرکین و دشمنان بیزاری جسته و با آنها قطع رابطه می کنند.
Okay, so he said that in the Quran it says that Muslims must abhor the non-Muslims, the infidels, right? The kafir. That's you, that's me, right? So Khomeini, Khabar Margesh, the founder of the Islamic regime, is basically saying the Quran teaches us that as Muslims, we must be enemies with the non-Muslim. We must be enemies with the kafir, We must cut ties with the non-Muslims. That's what their book teaches them. That's not me saying it. That's them. They are the ones that are saying it in this video.
در پی این فراخوان آیت الله خمینی
Ah, look. Oh my gosh. What is this? I don't even know who this is supposed to be. Does anyone know who this is supposed to be? Because whoever it is, like, I don't know, some like Western person. And then he's got like, so this is like the flag of America. And then this is the flag of Israel. Like, what in the Allahu Akbar Jihad Durka? Oh, is that Jimmy Carter? Is that Jimmy Carter? Is that supposed to be Jimmy Carter? I have no idea. Someone is saying it's, oh, so Omid is saying it's Jimmy Carter. I mean, it could be. Anyways, all I can say is, what in the Allahu Akbar Jihad is going on right now? Welcome to the Islamic regime, guys. Welcome to the Islamic regime that some people within the Trump administration are claiming they can negotiate with and that they're reformable and reasonable. Really? Really? No, I don't think this is Carter either. I don't know who this is. I don't think it's Jimmy Carter. It doesn't look like him at all. Anyways, I have no idea who this is, but whoever it is, his mouth is covered with the flag of America, and then this one is like the flag of Israel, I guess, but they put the Star of David to the side for whatever reason. But anyways, yeah, so there you go. What in the Allahu Akbar Jihad is going on? I have no idea, but there you go. Welcome to, no, this is not Obama, because this is back in this is like 1987, 1988. Guys, this is like peak Durka. This is like the height of Durkaism.
خمینی صدها زائر ایرانی با شعار علیه آمریکا و اسرائیل در جریان مراسم حج دست به تظاهرات زدند.
Oh, okay. So guys, so what? Oh, so in previous live streams, I've spoken about how the Islamic regime is against Saudi Arabia, right? So now we're getting into more like game of Durka, right? So the Islamic regime is Shia, Saudi Arabia is Sunni. They're all Muslim, right? They're all Muslim. They all follow the same book, okay? The book that says, be enemies with the coffin, that's you and me. So both Sunnis and Shias believe that, okay? Don't think that the Sunnis don't believe that. They all believe it. The difference between Shia and Sunni is basically like which Arab warlord is supposed to take over after the first Arab warlord, Muhammad, died, right? Like that's literally the only difference between Shia Islam and Sunni Islam is, when Muhammad, the first Arab warlord, died, and then all the other Arab warlords were fighting to take over, right? The Sunnis believe that one of the Arab warlords should have taken over, and the Shias believe that the other Arab warlord should have taken over. I don't know, like Hassan versus Hussein, or I don't know, like Imam Riza, I don't know, whatever their names are, right? But that's basically the difference. The difference is like which Arab warlord succeeded the original Arab warlord. That's the only difference between them. Okay, but the book is the same. Like the Quran is the Quran is the Quran, right? So that's a different. Anyone who's wondering the difference between Shia and Sunni, that's what it is. The Shias believe one Arab warlord became the number 2 in command, and then the Sunnis believe that some other Arab warlord. And I mean, I don't care. It's all game of Durka, right? Like I don't care who's in charge. They're all Durkas to me. They're all dead Arab warlords. I don't really care about them. But the reason the Islamic regime is going after Saudi Arabia is because, it's game of Durka, right? So they want their Arab warlord to be superior. So the Islamic regime wants their dead Arab warlord to be more superior than the dead Arab warlord that the Saudis worship, okay? So the Islamic regime is like, no, our dead Arab warlord is more important than your dead Arab warlord. Okay? So it's like full on game of Durka that's been going on for 1400 years. So not only do they kill non Muslims, they also kill each other. They also kill each other because they can't even agree on which dead Arab warlord is supposed to succeed Muhammad. Not my circus, not my monkeys. That's about as much as I know about it, and as much as I want to know about it. But, anyways, having said that, so this is back in 1987, and the Islamic regime basically said that during the Hajj, so Hajj is like every year, when all the Muslims go to Mecca to pray around the giant stone and like kiss the stone. By the way, the stone looks very weird. Like the symbolism of the Mecca stone, I mean, come on, guys. Like, it's just like the weirdest looking thing. Like, what is this? Like, I'm not gonna say it, but what is that? It's like Mecca is like this giant black square, and then it's got like this little hole. And then they go and they like kiss the stone. I don't know what I don't, yeah. I mean, it's wild because I mean, they claim that everyone else is pagan. Meanwhile, these people literally like they dance around this like meteorite. They're literally worshiping a meteorite. Like it's literally just a meteorite, right? Like there's so many meteorites around the world, and yet they worship this one meteorite, and they literally made like this weird looking hole thingy, and then they just go in and they just like kiss it, right? I mean, to each their own, I guess, but like, what is that? What is that? Yeah, this stone is what they worship. So the Hajj every year is Muslims from all around the world, regardless of whether they're Sunni or Shia or whatever. They all go to Mecca for the Hajj, and they basically just like rotate, rotate around the stone. They try to kiss the meteorite. Like, it's weird. It's very weird. I'm not going to say what that looks like, but you guys can use your imaginations. So going back to this, I saw a super chat, super comment. Apparently, okay. So Stephen Riley says, think that the picture was of the Israeli prime minister. Yeah, I mean, it may very well could be a caricature of the Israeli prime minister back in 1987. Honestly, that would not surprise me, given the very very anti-Jewish and disgusting anti-Semitic tropes that they're using, including the imagery of the enlarged nose, which is what a lot of anti-Jewish people do. So yeah, I mean, I could see this. I could, who was the Israeli prime minister back in 1997? Let's look it up. Sorry, I have to brush up on my Israeli politics. I don't know if it's him. Menachem Begin? Menachem Begin? I don't know if that looks like him though. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. It's honestly, it's hard to say because these Durkas, like, they're so like uneducated, they're so low quality. Oh, it's Yitzhak Shamir. Is that who it is? Shamir? Okay, let me look that up. Let me look him up. Yit. See, guys, we are on a learning journey together here. Is that him? I don't know if that's him. Wait, okay, so let me show, and then you guys let me know. It wasn't Begin. It was Shamir. Okay, it was Shamir. Okay. So apparently that image is supposed to be a caricature of former Israeli Prime Minister I'm sorry if I can't pronounce it properly. Yitzhak Shamir. Okay? Yitzhak Shamir? Possibly? Anyways, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who it is, but I don't know. Like, he's such a handsome person. I mean, look at him. Like, what a handsome person. So well dressed. Look at him. Like, he looks well dressed, properly groomed, dignified. Okay. And then compare that to Khomeini Khabar Margish, right? Look, like, just compare that. Like, this is how insane these people are. Okay. Like, compare this incredibly well-dressed gentleman to this demon from hell. Okay? Like, you can't even compare the two. Look at this. Like, you can't even compare the two. Like, I don't understand how the Durkas think that this is okay. Like, this is normal. By the way, this guy's nose is huge, okay? Like, he has like the biggest nose ever and it's all deformed and whatever. Like, I don't understand how they think that this is, an okay or acceptable appearance, and yet, like, they have the audacity to make fun of how Jewish people look when they're literally worshiping a demon from hell. Okay? Like, what is this? Like the audacity. The audacity to make fun of anyone's appearance when you're literally worshiping a demon from hell that looks like this, right? This is the insanity of Durkas. Anyways, going back to the documentary. So basically what's happening here is that in 1987, Khomeini, Khabar Margish, Khomeini again is, this demon Muslim pedophile from hell who wrote a book about how to sodomize infants and have it be halal in Islam. Yes, he wrote that book. I spoke about that at the beginning of this live stream. Anyway, so in 1987, Khomeini is like, hey guys, we need to, we need to go after Saudi Arabia. So when you're going to Hajj, when you're going to your sacred pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia to, worship the black meteorite and kiss it, even though Muslims claim that they're not pagans and they don't worship, statues, they literally worship a meteorite, okay? But then they literally call every other religion pagans, but they literally worship a black stone. Like, they will literally travel hundreds of thousands of miles every year to go to Mecca to kiss a black stone, okay? And you know what? To each their own. You do you. If that's your religion, that's fine. I don't care. That's your religion. But then you don't have the right to call the rest of us pagans when you guys literally worship a black stone, right? I'm just saying. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, okay? You want to worship a black stone? By all means, go for it. I support you. I support your religious right to go to Mecca every year and worship a black stone and make out with this black stone. You want to put your lips on it, you want to rub your tongue all over it, I don't care. That's your religion, not my business. But then you don't have the audacity to call the rest of us pagans when you're literally French kissing a stone every year. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Right? Just, just take a step back. Look at the entire picture. Okay? You want to French kiss a stone? Go for it. But then you don't have the right to call the rest of us pagans. I'm just saying. Anyway, so this is what they do every year. They go to Mecca every year to like make out with the stone. It's a meteorite, by the way, right? It's like they think it's a magic stone or something because it fell from outer space. As we all know, meteorites are not a magic thing. Meteorites are part of space. So, yeah. If you want to learn more about science, you know where to go. Maybe we should get our resident scientist to do a live stream about the science behind meteorites and whether or not they're magic stones, right? But anyways, yeah. You want to worship a meteorite? Go for it. I support you. But don't call the rest of us pagan when you're literally worshiping a meteorite. I don't know, man. Like, it's just weird. Anyways, but the other thing as well is that, and those of you who have been following me and watching on Iran Revolution Live, you've seen the penguins, right? You've seen the women who like wear this like white over their black outfits, right? So when Muslims travel to Mecca for their annual Hajj, where they go make out with the meteorite, yeah, they literally go to make out with a meteorite. I mean, I don't know. It's their religion. It's what they do. Anyways, when they go, they wear white. And the reason they wear white is because this is like a religious pilgrimage, right? So they literally spend hundreds of thousands of dollars every year to go to Mecca to make out French kiss with like a meteorite, okay? I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of like space museums could make a lot of money if they like, advertised magic stones or something. Who knows? I don't know, man. Anyways, but they wear white because this is basically their burial shroud, right? So they go to Mecca wearing white because the white is what they plan on being buried in, okay? So, yeah, but what happened is during, like in 1987, Khomeini said to all the Shia Muslims, he was like, Saudi Arabia is your enemy. So when you go do your annual Hajj, so Khomeini is like, this year when you go to Saudi Arabia to make out with the, jihadi space meteorite, go and protest against Saudi Arabia and protest against, America and Israel and all that, because Saudi Arabia is supporting all these people or whatever. I don't know. It's game of Durka, right? It's game of Durka. Because the Islamic regime also wants to take over Saudi Arabia because they're the wrong kind of Muslims, because Saudi Arabia worships the wrong dead Arab warlord that succeeded Muhammad. They don't worship the dead Arab warlord that the Shias do. Game of Durka.
خمینی صدها زائر ایرانی با شعار علیه آمریکا و اسرائیل در جریان مراسم حج دست به تظاهرات زدند. اقدامی که با دخالت پلیس عربستان تبدیل به یک درگیری خونین بین حجاج و نیروهای امنیتی شد.
Oh my God. Wow, guys, it's literally full on like Durka versus Durka, like game of Durka.
در پی حوادث مکه
I don't feel any sympathy for any of these people. Like, to me, this is just like watching, like, you know, like terrorists versus terrorists, right? So I literally don't care. It's just fun to watch. It's like everyone's gone full Durka here, and it's like Durka on Durka action, right? Remember, if they're not fighting you or me, right? If they're not fighting the infidels, they're fighting each other. Like for these people, it's literally a constant state of war.
275 زائر ایرانی و 85 پلیس عربستان کشته شدند.
Good, I don't care. خبر مرگشون.
به دنبال آن عربستان سعودی سفارتخانه خود را در تهران تعطیل و روابط دیپلماتیک خود را با ایران قطع کرد.
شکستن کعبه این مسئله نیست که بشد ازش همینطوری گذشت. اگر ما از مسئله قدس بگذاریم، اگر ما از خدام بگذاریم، اگر ما از همه کسانی که به ما بدی کردن بگذاریم، نمیتونیم از مسئله حجاز بگذاریم.
آیت الله خمینی که با فراخوان خود یکی از عوامل وقایع مکه بود، در واکنش به جای دلجویی از خانواده‌های قربانیان، این بار پادشاه عربستان سعودی را مورد حمله شدید قرار داد.
این ننگ را نباید ما به گور ببریم که ما بودیم.
So Khomeini, خبر مرگش, here he's attacking the House of Saud, right? The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You know what? I don't know what happened to his turban. I don't know why he looks that way. I have no idea. Like, does anyone know why he looks like that? Like, where is his turban? I'm curious to know.
دیدیم در حضور ما بزرگترین جنایت واقع شد و حالا اونا طرفکار هستن از ما.
So like, again, this is how insane these people are. Again, this is not me showing sympathy for the Saudis, right? Like, I literally don't care. I literally don't care. But like, the Islamic regime, Khomeini, said to Iranians and, you know, all the Shias, he's like, go to Saudi Arabia and try to take over. And then when they tried to do that, obviously the Saudis responded, because the Saudis were like, what in the Allahu Akbar jihad is happening? And, you know, 85 Saudis were murdered because Khomeini, Khabar Margish, started the game of Durka, not just against Iraq, but against Saudi Arabia. And then, even though he's the one that called for war, he's now gaslighting and blaming Saudi Arabia for it, right? I'm telling you, like they're always in a state of war. If they're not fighting the infidel, they're fighting each other. And now he's claiming that Saudi Arabia is indebted because Saudi Arabia, you know, killed 275 Durkas. I mean, I don't care. I don't care that they were killed. They had it coming. Like, you know, don't be a terrorist. You want to go to another country and, you know, try to take over and be a terrorist? You're going to get what's coming to you. And guys, Saudi Arabia does not play around, okay? Saudi Arabia does not play around. You don't even want to know what would happen to you if you as a Christian went to Saudi Arabia and started handing out Bibles. You would not last 10 seconds in Saudi Arabia. A country that I'm never going to go to. There's no way in hell I would ever go to Saudi Arabia. Or UAE, or, you know, Qatar, or any of those countries. Like, there's literally no way. The only country in the Middle East that I've ever visited, and the only country that I would ever feel safe visiting, is Israel. That's it. There's no way that I'm going to any other country in the Middle East. Yeah.
این توطئه بی اشکال یک توطئه سابقی بود. هیچ اشکالی در این نیست که سابقی داشت این توطئه. بنا داشتن بر اینکه این امر واقع بشد. تحمیل کرد.
So now Khomeini, this, you know, jihadi terrorist, is he is accusing the Saudis of a conspiracy theory, right? He's accusing the Saudis of a conspiracy theory. Guys, okay, so someone who's saying not all Muslim countries practice Sharia law. That's not what I said. I said countries in the Middle East. I've visited Morocco, and I absolutely love Morocco. So Morocco is a country that is 99.9% Muslim, but Morocco is not in the Middle East. Morocco is a beautiful country, and I actually really enjoyed Morocco, and I actually look forward to going back to Morocco and visiting Morocco. I loved Morocco. I love Moroccan culture. Yeah, Morocco is North Africa, exactly. Morocco is not in the Middle East. Guys, I was very clear. I was like, countries in the Middle East. I actually didn't say like Muslim countries. I said countries in the Middle East. The only country, yeah, North Africa was ruined by Islam, and you know, the Moroccan Berbers, right? The Moroccan Berbers know a lot about that. But anyways, I love Morocco, and I had a lot of fun in Morocco, and I actually would love to go back and travel to Morocco at some point in the future. But the Middle Eastern countries? Oh no. Nope. No way. All right, let's continue. Anyway, so Khomeini is accusing the Saudis of a conspiracy theory, even though Khomeini is the one that started the jihad against Saudi Arabia.
بودن برای آل سعود احمق که یه همچه کار احمقانه‌ای بکند و خودش را در تمام دنیا منحط کنند با اینکه منحط بود و منحط خواهد.
So now he's claiming that, you know, because the Saudis fighted back, the Saudis have now isolated themselves, right? So the Islamic regime is literally declaring war against Saudi Arabia.
خواهد بود.
Wow. Okay, guys. We are only about halfway through this documentary, and we haven't even gotten to the funeral footage yet, which is absolutely wild and crazy. But it's been 3 hours that I've been live streaming, and I do have to call it a night because I have to wake up early tomorrow. I have some other plans and obligations. However, I promise you, we will continue this live stream tomorrow. I'll probably start it a little bit earlier, but we will do this live stream tomorrow because we have to finish watching this before Khamenei's funeral on July 4th. Okay? So, what's so gross? Oh gosh, I need to de-Durkify myself. Guys, listen, I've literally had my bacon wrapped scallops here beside me all night as it's like a Durka shield, right? And then I also, specifically for tonight, I have 2 mugs with me. I have my Savak coffee mug. You guys know Savak. And I also have my Bapish coffee mug. So I'm like full on like protecting myself from the Durka, right? It's like, this is like my shield right now. This is my shield. I've got my Bapish man, I've got my Savak, and I've got my bacon wrapped scallops to like protect me from the Durka, right? So anyways, and of course I make Iran great again hat. So yes, I will definitely continue this tomorrow because I personally want to watch the rest of this before the circus theatrics of Khamenei's funeral, Khabar Margish. So, guys, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you thought this live stream was informative, you know, please help me spread the word. Like, share, comment. Send the link to whoever you know who might be interested in learning more about the history of Iran and, you know, how Iran became a third world Islamic hellhole governed by Sharia law. This is actually a very good documentary. And for those of you who've joined me on my previous documentary watch parties, all those documentaries have pretty much been English documentaries, and they've been horrible, right? They've been horrible because they're full of inconsistencies, full of disinformation, and like I said, I literally never watch English language documentaries about Iran. I only watch Persian language documentaries. This one in particular, I haven't seen. So I'm really glad that we're watching it together, because as terrible as the footage is, at least the information is accurate, and they're providing the real context about how evil this inbred Muslim pedophile actually was, right? Like they're not mincing anything. They're not mincing words. So yeah, guys. Oh my gosh, wait, before we continue, before I end, I do have to go to, I forgot the super chat. So let me go to all of your questions and comments before we end. Sorry, guys. Let me just bring that up really quick. So Uncle Eds says, I think we need to bomb the funeral with bacon bits, sand, popcorn. I agree, but boom boom it, maybe not with bacon bits, but boom boom it with actual boom booms, right? Like that would be amazing. That would be amazing. Because the only people attending the funeral and going oh and crying are supporters of the Islamic regime. They're literally the murderers of the Iranian people. Remember, a Muslim Nazi is a Muslim Nazi is a Muslim Nazi. So I agree with you. Boom boom them, but with something maybe stronger than bacon bits. Just my 2 cents on that. Miss MTC, Islam gives a whole new view on the phrase backdoor man. Push-ups. Carter gutted the CIA when he came into office. He fired like a third of the agency. He ended deep cover program into terrorist groups. So he was, you know what? That makes sense. That's exactly, that sounds exactly like something the Democrats would do and are doing right now with their whole like defund ICE thing or whatever, right? Like the Democrats have always been inherently anti-American. And it's wild to me that anyone supports the Democrats. And I say that as a Canadian, as an outsider, right? Just looking in, like as a Canadian, I look into American politics and I'm like, do people not realize that the Democrats are like, they hate America? It's wild to me. Anyways, Tread says, I know like 10 words, like words, 10. Are you talking about Persian words? Aw. Tread, I'm so happy I can enjoy your commentary again. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. John Diamond. Oh my gosh. Yes, John, you're absolutely right. Thomas Jefferson stated that the Barbary pirates claimed their attacks were a religious duty mandated by the Quran, which declared war on all nations that did not acknowledge Islamic authority. Jefferson's response, he dispatched the U.S. Navy. I actually believe, if I'm not mistaken, John, I might be wrong on this, but I thought that Thomas Jefferson made the case for creating the U.S. Navy because of his encounter with the Muslim pirates. A lot of Muslims like to brag that, Thomas Jefferson was pro-Islam because Thomas Jefferson had a copy of the Quran. Yeah, you idiots. Thomas Jefferson had a copy of the Quran because he got it from one of the Muslim pirates that tried to invade America 250 years ago. And Thomas Jefferson read that and he was like, what in the Allahu Akbar jihad am I reading? And then in response, Thomas Jefferson created the U.S. Navy. Yeah, the U.S. Navy was created as a response to Muslim pirates. The more you know. And by the way, Thomas Jefferson was also inspired by the Persians. Thomas Jefferson was inspired by Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire. The whole concept of freedom of religion and liberty and, equality and all of that, Thomas Jefferson was inspired by the Persian civilization. So Just think about that. Think about Thomas Jefferson's reaction to Iranians versus Thomas Jefferson's reaction to Muslims. Yeah. History matters. And you know what? Facts don't care about anyone's feelings because those are the facts. Push-ups says, but thank you, John. That was excellent comment, and 100% agree with you on that. Thank you for sharing that. Very important. And guys, history matters. History matters. Push-ups. Supposedly, Khuzestan was Saddam's target because it had most of the oil and a large Arab population. Yes, so Khuzestan was predominantly Saddam Hussein's target because of the oil. The excuse was the Arab population, but guys, the large Arab population in Khuzestan, it doesn't actually mean that the Arabs outnumber the Iranians. Okay, so I'm from Khuzestan, and I'm one of the original people, because remember, Khuzestan, modern day Khuzestan, is known in the Bible as Elam. Okay? You guys all know about Elam, okay? So, if I pull up an image and map of Elam, right? This is Khuzestan, okay? And then Susa right now is it's called Shushtar. And then Ahvaz is like somewhere here, okay? So Elam has now turned into modern day Khuzestan. So it's Iranian, okay? The Arabs who are there are those who, migrated, I guess, during the Arab Muslim invasion or whatever. However, I want to be very clear about something. Iranian Arabs are Iranian first, okay? Iranian Arabs are just as much Iranian as Iranian Kurds, Iranian Lurs, Iranian Persians, Iranian whatever, okay? In fact, one of the reasons that Iran was able to fight back against Saddam Hussein during the Iran-Iraq War was because of our patriotic Iranian Arabs in Khuzestan, who acted as spies and intercepted and gave whatever information they needed. So keep that in mind. Yes, there is, a larger Arab population in this area, but they're Iranian Arabs, okay? And we don't call them Arab. Like, they're Iranian. I actually have a lot of extended family members who are Iranian Arab, but they're just as Iranian as you and me, and they all speak Persian. I mean, yes, they speak, Arabic, but they also speak Persian. The same way that, my family, we're Lor Bakhtiyari, so we're Iranian Lors, and my family speaks Shushtari. So, amongst themselves, they speak Shushtari or Desfuli or Bakhtiyari. But of course, we also all speak Persian, because Persian is the Iranian language, but we all have our own dialect. So that's really important to understand as well. And it was, in fact, the Iranian Arabs of Khuzestan who were the biggest thorn in the side of Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein thought that the Iranian Arabs would just be like, oh, you're Arab, I'm Arab. Well, but that's not how it works. Because those, Arab families who live in Khuzestan have lived there for thousands of years, and they are part of the fabric of Iran, just like the rest of us. And they are Iran first. Yeah. Lors are famous for being warriors and defenders of Iran. That is very true. I've said it before. Us Lor Bakhtiaris, we're basically like we're like the Texans. We're like the Texans of Iran. I've shared some images of, Lor Bakhtiaris on horseback, with the guns. So yeah. We are known as the warrior tribes. Yes, the Lor Bakhtiaris, we are the warrior tribes, known for defending and protecting Iran's borders. That is true. But yeah. Okay, next comment. So Minor Dine says, if you talk for 100 years, I suspect we would listen for everyone. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I can't talk too much longer though. My throat is my voice is catching, but it's great. It's great to be back, and I've actually really enjoyed this documentary watch party and exploring it with you guys. John Diamond says, too long for the honor of nations have those barbarians been permitted to trample on the sacred faith of treaties, on the rights and laws of human nature. First Barbary War, 1801, 1805. Yeah, 1801 to 1805. John, thank you so much for sharing that. Yes. You know what's wild is that if someone was going, if Thomas Jefferson said this today, the Democrats would accuse him of Islamophobia. Isn't that wild? Isn't it wild? This quote today, if it was said today, would be considered Islamophobic. Do you see how they've infiltrated the narrative? Yeah. Guys, Thomas Jefferson was onto something. Thomas Jefferson was a very smart man. You know what? Here's the thing. Whenever you're dealing with a Durkha, just ask yourself, what would Thomas Jefferson do? I think that's a very good kind of moral compass to take it. If I was American and I was unsure about a situation, I would just be like, what would Thomas Jefferson do? And then I would just go to this quote, right? Thomas Jefferson is saying that these barbarians have been permitted to trample on the sacred faith of treaties, on the rights and laws of human nature. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson called them barbarians. Yeah. What would Thomas Jefferson do? I think that's a great sort of moral compass, right? Just what would Thomas Jefferson do? Anyways, so Gigi Ryder says, I used to read Richard Falk, leftist pro-Pali like Gideon Levy or Norman Finkelstein or Chomsky. Yep. When Lebanese Christian phalangists massacred Palis in 2 camps for revenge, these guys blamed Israel. Wow. Yeah, I mean, well, the Lebanese civil war was actually started by the Palestinian invaders, and they were massacring Lebanese Christians for a very long time, along with Hezbollah. But yeah, of course, look, these people blame Israel for everything. It's just part of their anti-Semitic, anti-Jew hating propaganda. They're literally part of the modern Nazi movement, right? Stephen Riley, okay, yeah, the Israeli PM. So we already shared that one. Plan B says, thanks, Goldie. Oh, thank you for watching. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Oh, look, it's Christian. Evan Christian said, I haven't seen you in a while. You good? Why are Safavids hated? Ever seen Not Without My Daughter? Why are the Safavids hated? What? Are we thinking about the same dynasty? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the Safavids are the one who brought Shia Islam. The Safavids are the one who, yeah, they're the original Arab invaders. There you go. Yeah, Omid said it best. There you go. The original Arab invaders. That's who they are. And, I can speak more about that later, but again, I'm not an expert on the historical Durkha. I'm my base of knowledge is more on like modern day Durka. But I think I've had a few documentary watch parties about ancient Persia, and I'm happy to like find a few more where we can explore all of that together. But all I know is that, like, yeah, what Omid said. And then, ever seen Not Without My Daughter? Yes, I've seen the movie Not Without My Daughter. It is definitely accurate to a degree. The only thing I don't like about Not Without My Daughter, or any of these movies that depict, Iranians, is that they portray it as if that's Iranian culture when it's not. Like, that's Islamic culture. Okay, so that and it's based on a true story. So basically, Not Without My Daughter is a story of this like white woman, okay, this white Western liberal woman who falls in love with a Durka. Okay, she literally falls in love with a Muslim Durka, right? Because, oh, he's my Aladdin, he's gonna take me on a magic carpet ride in the Middle East, blah blah blah. And then the Muslim Durka takes her to an authoritarian dictatorship country where women literally have no rights, and then she's like, oh no, my rights, right? It's like similar to the ISIS brides, right? It's like these Western liberal white women who fall in love and marry like an ISIS terrorist in the UK or wherever. And then the ISIS terrorist is like, come with me to Syria or Afghanistan or, I don't know, some hellhole in Iraq, come with me to the Middle East for a magic carpet ride. You will be treated like a queen, right? And then this idiotic white Western liberal woman is like, oh my gosh, my Aladdin's taking me to the Middle East for a magic carpet ride, right? And then she goes there, and then she realizes like what hellhole she's in, right? So عزیزی ببین هر وقتی میگم خمینی باید بگم خبر مرگش، یعنی اصلا خمینی اصلا حالم به هم میخوره میدونم مرده است، ولی میگم خمینی باید بگم خبر مرگش. میدونم زشته ولی دیگه I can't control myself. Sorry. So one of our Iranian viewers is laughing and they're like, I love you. The entire time, all I've heard is Khomeini khabar margish. Remember, Khomeini khabar margish means Khomeini, the news of his death. So you only say khabar margish about someone that's alive, but I first of all, it's a really rude thing to say because it means like, I hope for the news of their death. And even though Khomeini died in 1989, I can't help myself. I just say, that's my way of insulting him. So, and I know all the Iranians watching are enjoying it. So yeah, Khomeini khabar margish. There you go. But anyways, yeah, so the movie Not Without My Daughter is basically like the modern day version of like some white Western, you know what it is? It's like those weird white Western liberal women who are like, I'm converting to Islam. And then they start wearing hijab. And then they realize, oh my gosh, I as a woman, as a Muslim woman, I have like no rights. I have no rights in Islam. And then they're stuck because if they try to, leave Islam, apostasy is punishable by death, right? So there you go. Yeah. So yeah, Not Without My Daughter, it's not about Iranian culture, it's about Islamic culture, right? Because she married a Durka. And I don't know what kind of woman will just like travel to Iran or travel to any country without doing research on it. Like, do you not think like, okay, like you're going to this like third world country? By the way, this is not like recent. This is like literally in the early 1980s. Okay, so the revolution the Islamic Revolution or coup d'etat had just happened. The American hostage situation had just ended, okay? So this American woman is like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna travel to the country where they held Americans hostage for 444 days. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, okay, you idiot. But of course, Hollywood makes it about how all Iranians are Durkas when it had nothing to do with Iranians. It had to do with Islamic regime. Because the same thing is happening today with the ISIS brides, right? The ISIS brides who literally fell in love with a terrorist and then they go to the Islamic regime, or sorry, not the Islamic regime, they go to like Iraq or Syria or I don't know, whatever hellhole. And then they're like, oh no, we're being treated like cattle. Yeah, well, what did you expect? Anyways, there you go. That's the movie Not Without My Daughter. Minor Dine, good night and patriotic dreams. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. To all of you, thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's documentary watch party. Obviously, part 1, because we still have about, guys, can you believe this? So this is a 54-minute documentary, and in 3 hours we only got through 28 minutes. That's definitely my fault because I did a lot of talking. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And I guess I'm gonna have to, I'll have to save these for tomorrow night. I'll put them in the fridge and I'll save the rest for tomorrow night so that I have my bacon shield for tomorrow night for when we get to like more of the Durka stuff. But anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed tonight's documentary watch party. I really enjoy the documentary watch parties that we have because it's pretty much unscripted, right? It's just, all of us hanging out together, watching a documentary, having a conversation, completely unscripted. We don't even know what we're going to see. But yeah. Until tomorrow, I just want to say I'm Goldie Ghamari. You've been watching The Goldie Show. I will see you guys tomorrow. And now you know.